Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MTG Place podcast. I am your host, Corey. Joined with me again is James. How's it going, James?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How's it going?
We are both going to be talking about the Kamigawa Neon Dynasty cards today. We're both going to be going to the pre-release on Friday. So we're just going to jump right in here. We're only going to talk about rares and mythics. Because that's, has the most value. I mean, commons and uncommons, once in a while, there's some that are played. And we're going to talk about them mostly from a commander perspective. Occasionally we might throw in if we think it'll be good in standard or limited or something. We're going to start with white, and we'll be going in Wooburg order. And we're going to start with the main set. And then if we have time, we'll do the commander cards, or else we'll do a whole other episode on those. So, James, you want to read the first one?
Sounds good. First of all, so we're starting with white, rares, and mythics, as Corey said. So first of all, we have Ao the Dawn Sky, which is 3 white for a 5/4 legendary dragon spirit creature. It has flying and vigilance, and then it also has, when Ao the Dawn Sky dies, choose one. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put any number of non-land permanent cards with total mana value 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. And then it also has put 2 +1/+1 counters on each permanent you control that's a creature or vehicle.
So yeah, they made 5 new dragon spirits in this Kamigawa, just like last time they had 5. So none of the same ones returned, although I guess Jugen kind of is in the set. But yeah, so they have one of each color. This one, I think if I'm playing this, if I'm playing a 1/1 counters deck, you'd choose the second ability when it dies, right? But if you're playing...
Oh, for sure.
Otherwise, maybe the 3 CMC or less deck, you could choose the top one, and you might be able to get 2 things.
If you're lucky, yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Because it's total mana value 4, right? So you could have 4 1-drops.
4, yeah. And honestly, definitely not bad mana value for this. Even just for a 5/4 flying vigilance is not bad. And then these effects on top of it are pretty nice, really.
Right, and then obviously in limited, this is going to be a freaking bomb because you just dies. All my stuff gets 2/1s.
That's so good, limited. Holy God.
All right, and then the next card we got is Brilliant Restoration, which is 3 white. So 7 mana, 4 of it has to be white, for a sorcery that says return all artifact and enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield.
That seems extremely expensive for a kind of mediocre effect.
I mean, it can be good if you play in an enchantment artifact deck. Obviously, you could, your whole graveyard to play. But yeah, 4 whites is kind of insane.
You got to have a lot of white mana sources for this to work, and 7 in general is a huge mana cost. Like, you better be playing an affinity deck if you're going to be using that.
Yeah, I think if you're playing a lot of mana rocks, you could probably make it work. But you're only going to run this in artifact enchantment deck, and only if you play white as one of the main colors.
Yeah, you have to have white as the primary color.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if I'd put this. Yeah, but I don't even know if I'd put this in anything more than 2 colors.
No, there's no way. Getting 4 of one color is very hard, for sure, especially when it's split. Next up, we have Cloudsteel Kirin. It is 2 and a white for a 3/2 artifact creature equipment Kirin. It has flying. Equipped creature has flying, and you can't lose the game, and your opponents can't win the game. And then it has a new keyword that is called Reconfigure, which is 5 mana, and then that is attached to target creature with control. Attached to target creature you control, or unattached from a creature. Reconfigure only as a sorcery. While attached, this isn't a creature.
Yeah, so basically how it reconfigure is you basically play it and it's a creature version, and then you can attach it to make an equipment instead. But then if the creature dies, instead of the equipment going to the graveyard, you have a creature.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I kind of like that. It's kind of almost how Batterskull works in a way. like a different
Right.
kind of mechanic.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because it's make it so the equipped creature has flying, and you can't lose the game. Opponents can't win. So it turns your equipped creature into a platinum angel.
Yeah, essentially. And
And
honestly, cost of 3 and cost of 5, I guess. So that's kind of a lot.
yeah, so it's 8 mana, but spread out
Yeah,
over 2 turns.
but yeah, that's interesting. I like this new tech they have going on.
Yeah, I mean 3 for a 3/2 flying is not that bad either.
No, that's pretty decent. And then you can use it for other stuff too.
So next, the card we have is called Farewell. It's 4 white for a sorcery that says choose one or more. Exile all artifacts, creatures, enchantments, graveyards. So it's exile all, and then those options. So you could choose one of those options or all of them.
Well, that's just great because they're basically making it playable.
Yeah, it's very good card. This just if you want to choose all of them, this seems like it's going in every single Super Friends deck that's 5 colors or has white in it. Because you can't get rid of planeswalkers with it, so you're just like exile everything but my planeswalkers.
Yeah. Well, because like there's cards like the one that I always come back to is like Decimate from what was that, like Planar Chaos, where it's like you had to like choose a target enchantment and a target artifact and a target land and a target creature, and if like even one of those things weren't in play, you could not play that card. So this makes it so you can always play this because you can you can choose one or more.
Right, but I mean it's a board wipe anyway. This doesn't target, so just everything.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's a fair point. And 6 for this is not a bad cost, really. That's pretty run of the mill for like their typical wipe.
I think I'm gonna
and it exiles too.
Yeah, if I get this, I'm playing this. I honestly like this is probably comparable to Merciless Eviction in the black-white decks.
Oh yeah, I remember that card.
But I think this is better because you could do more than one thing, whereas Merciless Eviction
because that was just and was it just choose one and it was like artifacts or enchantments or creatures or something?
I think one of the options is artifacts and enchantments, and the other option is creatures. Whereas this, you could hit both.
Yeah, so you can hit like as much as you want or as little as you want, which is a nice tech. Next up, we have Invoke Justice, which is 1 white. So that is 5 total with 4 whites as the mana cost. It is a sorcery. And then return target permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then distribute 4 +1/+1 counters among any number of creatures and/or vehicles target player controls.
So this, I would only probably play in mono white. Because
it's nice. Very much a mono white card.
It's nice to be able to bring back anything, because like the other white bringbacks are mostly either only enchantments or artifacts or only creatures. Here you could bring back planeswalker or a land even if you needed to, and then you get 4/1/1s.
Exactly. Yeah, and the 4/1/1s is great. That's great for say a good old white weenie. That's basically always a thing. Works well with that. But yeah, definitely a mono white card because again, the four of white sources a lot to do in a multi-deck or multicolor deck.
All right, next we got Kyoda, Soul of Kamigawa. It's 3 and a white for a 3/3 flash flying legendary creature dragon spirit. When it enters the battlefield, another target permanent gains indestructible for as long as you control Kyoda, and then it has pay Wooburg, so 1 of every color, to give it +5/+5 until end of turn. So this is cool because you can flash it in and give something indestructible. So the first moon combo that comes to mind with me is you flash this in and you give another creature indestructible, and then you attach World Slayer to that creature, and then it's swing, and then everything's gone except for your creature that had World Slayer on it.
That's dirty. Oh, good old World Slayer. Yes. This is kind of like a new spin on something like V-Click or something like that, where it's just like, oh yeah, flash this in and fuck shit up.
Yeah, and if you play it as your commander, you could play it at flash speed to give something indestructible, and you could play all 5 colors.
Yeah, and if you're in an all-color deck, it's very easy to do. And again, decent statting, really. So you
Yeah.
can make it an 8/8.
Another thing would be if you have a way, I'm not going to enchantment that makes this also indestructible. You could just like infinite disc or something.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's plenty of ways to do that. So that's just adds to the pile of possibilities. Next up, we have Lightpaw's Emperor's Voice. It is 1 white for a 2/2 legendary creature Fox Advisor. Oh yes, the foxes are back. I remember that from the other set. Whenever an aura enters the battlefield under your control, if you cast it, you may search your library for an aura card with mana value less than or equal to that aura and with a different name than each aura you control. Put that card onto the battlefield attached to Lightpaw's Emperor's Voice, then shuffle. So, obviously, enchantment-based decks is kind of what this is built for.
Yeah, you could play Super Voltron-y as if this is your commander, because you could play it, and then you play an aura, and then you immediately get another aura attached to it that's less than, and then you play another aura, and you get another one. Yeah, so it's basically every aura you play is going to get you another one.
This can just be like a huge combo if you have the right kind of cards for it.
Voltron, you also would probably just play it in a aura deck because like it's going to search one out, even though it does go on him.
Yep.
Next up, we got Lion Sash, which is 1 and a white for a 1/1 artifact creature equipment cat. So it has pay a white, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a permanent, put a +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on this, and then the reconfigure is 2. So it's 2 for a 1/1 that you can keep buffing with 1/1 counters, or 2 for a or 4 for an equipment that can keep putting 1/1s on it.
Right. So, that's a pretty versatile card, really.
The nice thing is the nice thing is the counters do go on the equipment. So like you could attach to a creature, they kill the creature, you still have all those counters on your equipment.
Exactly. They can't unless they have like Hex Mage or something from like Zendikar or what was that, World Wake? Yeah, oh, you get rid of your counters. Like, yeah, right. It's harder to deal with for sure. And the fact that you can do that more than once a turn, because you just have to pay a white to do it. Next up, we have March of Otherworldly Light. It is X and a white for an instant. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may exile any number of white cards from your hand. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. Exile target artifact, creature, or enchantment with mana cost value X or less.
So basically, for 1 mana and an exiled card, you can get rid of something that costs 2 or less.
Yeah, which, honestly, that's not bad in a lot of situations. That's a very cheap cost.
I mean, or you could just pay mana, obviously.
Yeah, or just pay mana if you have it.
So I like it. I like that you can exile cards. I don't know I don't know if I would do more than 1 card ever, unless I really, really needed to remove a creature or something that was really problematic. Because you're like 2 for 1-ing yourself, or 3 for 1-ing yourself. 2 or 3
for running yourself. Yeah, that doesn't exactly seem great.
Yeah, like you're not going to want to like turn 1. I guess if they turn 1, swing at you to win or something, you could be like, all right, well, I pitch my hand to get rid of your thing. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, you can always say if you're trying to get rid of a instant win combo, maybe.
I like it. It's not as good as like Swords of Plowshares or whatever, but it's up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's cheap and it's versatile, which is kind of the two things that make it really good. And it's white, so.
All right, next we got the first of the new sagas, the Restoration of Yanjo. It's 2 and a white for a saga. So when it comes in, you get a lore counter, and then you do 1, then 2, then 3. So search your library. The first one is search your library for a plains, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. The second one is discard a card. When you do, return target permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So you could just discard that plains you just got and then immediately put it into play tapped. And then the third one is exile this, and it transforms into the creature. So all these new sagas flip into a creature instead of going to the graveyard when they're done. So this one flips into a 3/4 enchantment creature, Fox Monk, with vigilance, and when it attacks or blocks, you get a 1/1 spirit token.
That is a very interesting play with sagas. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I really like this new layout, and I think this is one of the better ones because It's basically, it's land ramp for white. Then you get a card back, 2 or less value. And then you get a 3/4 vigilant creature that makes 1/1s.
Yeah. Great, and again, great for white, because white usually likes to be creature based with smaller, creatures that you buff or whatever. And this fits the bill pretty great for that.
Yep, and it's white mana ramp. If you discard the planes to it on the second turn, it's basically like your rampant growth thing.
Yeah, you really are. Next up, we have the Wandering Emperor. It is 2 white for a Planeswalker. It enters the battlefield with 3 loyalty counters. It has Flash and a constant ability. As long as the Wandering Emperor entered the battlefield this turn, you may activate her loyalty abilities anytime you could cast an instant. So it's basically an instant cast, or like a instant speed planeswalker, essentially. So her +1, their +1 is put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. It gains first strike until end of turn. It has a -1 of create a 2/2 white samurai creature token with vigilance, and then has a -2 of exile target tapped creature. You gain 2 life.
Yeah, so this is super good because they're swinging at me. Well, I'll flash in a planeswalker, exile your creature, gain 2 life.
Exactly.
Or
that's amazing.
Or they attack you with like a 1/1. Okay, flash in my planeswalker, make a 2/2 samurai, block.
Yeah.
Or they have a 2/2, you have a 1/1. Oh, flash it in, put a 1/1 counter on my creature, and it has first strike, block.
Yeah. It's just that this can just abuse the crap out of the stack.
Yeah, I mean, after you play it, other than the turn you play it, it can be instant speed. You could just do it on your turn, but it's still really good to have the effect one time at an instant speed like that.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's not all the time. So it's the first one they do.
Right, so it's when you flash it in, basically. You can also use its ability right away.
Which is still very good. So it doesn't really have like an ult ability technically, but honestly, it doesn't really need one. Like it's just so versatile.
Yeah, I mean, worst case scenario, right? You probably flash this and exile a creature. The next turn, you either put a 1/1 on something or you make a 2/2. So worst case, you got rid of something and you got a 2/2 out of it.
Exactly. For 4 mana. And honestly, in a white deck, that's like all you really need to do.
All right. So of all the white cards, which one do you think is the best?
Let's see. Well, that Farewell is really good. AO is very good, I think. And then I really like the Planeswalker too.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I'd say the Planeswalker's the best. My favorite one is the AO, just because I like dragons.
Yeah, you're a dragon boy. So. Yeah, white seems very good. It's got good removal. It's got some good synergy going on. There's a lot going on here.
All right, so now let's move on to blue. And blue, the first card we got is Inventive Iteration. It's 3 in a blue for a saga. The first step is return up to 1 target creature or planeswalker card to its owner's hand. And then the second one is return an artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. If you can't, you draw a card. And then the third one is you transform it into a 3/3 flying moonfolk creature that has the ability, whenever you cast a spell, your opponents can't cast spells with the same mana value as that spell until your next turn.
Typical blue.
Yeah, this seems really freaking good.
It does, and it basically has counterbalance and a creature as the third step. That's nice.
Yeah, it's like bounce something, get something back, and if you don't even have anything in your graveyard, you draw a card. Like,
yeah,
that's so
that
good.
Second step, it can't whiff. That's so good.
Yeah, and then the third thing, you're just like, okay, well, you're going to cast something that costs 1. Let me see if I have something in my hand that costs 1 that's an instant. Let me just play it, and then you can't cast it.
That's Definitely lots of possibilities with that saga, so that's very good.
Yeah, so that's definitely like instant dot deck.
That's that I could see that going in, honestly, like decks outside of standard too, very easily. Next up, we have Invoke the Winds. It is 1 blue, 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 blue. So that is 5 altogether with lots of blue in the mana cost. It is a sorcery with gain control of target artifact or creature, untap it. Well, that better be a really good artifact or creature.
Yeah, I mean it's harder to cast than just playing what's the enchantment? Confiscate?
Yeah,
Cost
Kafka is
6.
just 6 with like 1 blue and 5, if I remember right.
Yeah, or you could do was the other one that does a creature. It's like mind control or something, costs 5 as well.
Yeah, that just seems obnoxiously like they're basically making you like, oh, you will play this in blue and nothing else. Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't think that card's very good.
No, it's very high, and there's better cards that do the same kind of effect.
All right, next up we got Jin Gitaxis, a new Jin Gitaxis.
Oh boy.
The Progress Tyrant. It's 5 blue blue for a 5/5 legendary creature Phyrexian Praetor. Whenever you cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Trigger this ability once each turn. And then the bottom ability, whenever an opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, counter it. This ability triggers once each turn. So this seems very good in Legacy, especially Reanimator. Because
Yeah.
can you imagine, first turn I reanimate this out, and then the next turn I can cast, like Reanimate or another spell and I copy it, or even copy a counter spell, and then the first thing they play to try and kill it's going to get countered.
Yeah, this would definitely be. I could see it like maybe show and tell. Definitely Reanimator. Reanimator would love this card. Although outside of that, it's pretty high cost for Legacy. But if there's a way to cheat it out, I mean, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I mean, in Commander, this is a big dude too. I don't know if I played as a Commander, but definitely in any deck that you could cheat this out, super.
This
good.
would be great for any Commander deck that runs blue. Honestly, there's it definitely has lots of value and also protects your stuff. So it's kind of what you want in Commander in a nutshell. So seems good. This will definitely see play outside of standard for sure.
Oh yeah.
Next up we have Kyrie the Swirling Sky. It is 4 white. Oh, sorry, God. 4 blue blue for a 6/6 legendary dragon spirit creature that has flying and ward 3. And then for people who don't know what ward is, that's basically if you target it, you have to pay 3, right?
Yeah, it's like hexproof. It's like a worse version of hexproof. They just have to pay 3
it's like
extra
a paying version of hexproof. So yeah. All right. So and then it also has when Kyrie the Swirling Sky dies, choose one. Return any number of target non-land permanents with total mana value 6 or less to their owner's hands, or mill 6 cards. Then return up to 2 instant and or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand.
That seems really good. It's 6 for a 6/6.
It really does.
I think the bottom ability is better. You get 2 instant or sorceries back.
Yeah, and blue usually likes that.
I mean, because like I guess like why would you could want to bounce things, but 6 or less value. Like I mean, if they're playing like a huge token deck, you could bounce all their tokens. But
yeah, it is any number though. So I mean, it's basically like it could be like a Cyclonic Rift almost if they're 6 or less mana cost. So
right.
Definitely versatile, and yeah, not bad at all.
I like it. It's another dragon spirit.
Yeah, more dragons for Corey.
So let's see. The next card we got up here is March of the Swirling Mist. It's X and a blue. It's an instant, and as additional cost to cast a spell, you may exile any number of blue cards from your hand to make it cost 2 less for each one. And X target creatures phase out.
Oh God, phasing. So for those of you who don't know what phasing is, that basically means they go bye-bye. Forever.
Yeah, you treat it as though they don't exist for a round, basically.
Yep.
I think so. This is really good because for 1 blue and a card, you can take 2 creatures phasing out at instant speed.
Yeah, definitely not bad.
I mean, or you could just pay 2 mana and you could target one thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very interesting card. Kind of like a worse Teferi's Protection in a way. Or in a way, it could also be like, removal for a little bit of time if you don't want to deal with something, I guess.
Yeah, you can stop attackers and stuff. So it's kind of it's interesting
It is
to
instant
phase
speed,
out. So it's to me, it's a little bit better than bouncing because like it just does. I mean, bouncing they do have to replay it, but this way it's just it stalls time for you to have answers for it. So maybe it's about the same.
Yourself.
Maybe it's about the same as just bouncing it, I guess.
Yeah.
But you can also use it, to protect your own stuff, which is nice.
And the thing about phasing too is if you have things that have like counters and things on that, those don't go away.
Right, they stay on there
because they don't technically leave the field; they just don't exist on another plane. Phasing is weird.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next up, we have Mindlink Mech. It is 2 and a blue for a 4/3 artifact vehicle. It has flying. Whenever Mindlink Mech comes, whenever a Mindlink Mech becomes crewed for the first time each turn until end of turn, Mindlink Mech becomes a copy of target non-legendary creature that crewed it this turn, except it's 4/3. It's a vehicle artifact in addition to its other types, and it has flying, and it has crew 1.
Yeah, so this is interesting because you can basically use any creature to crew it, and then if it's a non-legendary creature, it's a 4/3 version, but with flying.
Yeah, so you do this like with like a 1/1 or something like that. It's like, oh yeah, I got a 4/3 flyer now, like another one.
Yeah, you probably want to do it with something that has like an attack trigger or something, so that you can get it get that on there and like still save that creature from dying. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if there's a way to abuse this or not. It's just an interesting card.
I'm sure there's a way. Someone will find out.
All right, next up we got Tamashi, Reality Architect, which is 2 and a blue for a 2/3 legendary creature Moonfolk Wizard. And it has whenever one or more non-creature permanents are returned to the hand, draw a card. This ability triggers once each turn. Then it has pay white and X, return a land card you control to the owner's hand. Return target artifact or enchantment card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, activate as a sorcery. So anything goes to anybody's hand from play, whether you bounce your opponent's thing, or you bounce your own thing, or you use this ability to return your land, you're going to draw a card.
Yeah. So it's just lots of drawing cards, basically, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and you could play artifact enchantments. So you could play this as a commander. You could play this in an artifact enchantment deck as a blue-white one. You could play this as bounce deck where you're just bouncing everybody because you can draw a card once each turn, so your turn and your opponent's turns.
Yeah, especially in commander, that's lots of turns.
And then the bounce lands, like you could just play a bounce land and you're going to draw a card. You don't even have to use this ability.
Yeah, seems like a very interesting card for sure. And very cheap, too. It's not expensive.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a fun card to play blue-white.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Next up, we have another Tezzeret. Tezzeret, Betrayer of Flesh, which is 2 blue for a legendary planeswalker named Tezzeret. It comes into the battlefield with 4 loyalty counters, and it has a static ability of the first achieved ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate. So
activated ability, not achieved ability.
Oh, sorry, I can't read. Let me read that again. The first activated ability of an artifact you activate each turn costs 2 less to activate. There we go. So yeah, great for obviously artifacts. Tezzeret's usually kind of been the artifact boy. Along with that, he also has +1, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. -2, target artifact becomes an artifact creature. If it isn't a vehicle, it has base power and toughness of 4/4. And then ultimate of -6. You get an emblem with whenever an artifact you control becomes tapped, draw a card.
Yeah, that emblem is freaking nuts.
In an artifact deck, that's disgusting. You're going to be drawing so many cards.
Let me activate my Sol Ring and draw a card.
Yeah, let me just like activate all my mana rocks I have and like, voltaic keys and who knows what else and just draw like my whole deck. Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, this also is nice with like Basalt Monolith. Makes it only cost 1 to untap it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's this card is so good for so many artifacts.
And then the minus, like one of the new commander decks in this set is a vehicles deck. And so the minus, you can make an artifact become a creature. So if it's an artifact, you just auto crew it with that. And if it's or a vehicle, I mean, and if it's not a vehicle, then it becomes a 4/4 creature.
Yeah, so it seems very versatile, very good. It looks like to me.
Tezzret's always good for artifacts.
Oh, definitely.
All right, the next card we got is the Reality Chip. It's 1 and a blue for a 0/4 legendary artifact creature equipment jellyfish. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. And then, as long as this is attached to a creature, you may play lands and cast spells from the top of your library. And the reconfigure costs 2 and a blue to attach it. So basically, you're going to want to attach this all the time so you can look at the top card of your library and cast lands and spells.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, this card is so interesting.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, well, let me kill the thing. Well, okay, well, I still have a 0/4 and I can look at the top card.
Yeah, so it's got like the Sphinx ability of looking at your deck, and then you can just play stuff. Yeah, so it's like a cheaper Future Sight almost.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Is it's exactly like Future Sight if you just paid it all at once for like 5 mana.
Yeah,
it's like almost the same card that.
It really is. This is that's really interesting, and it's a jellyfish too. I don't think I remember too many jellyfish in Magic the Gathering.
There's a couple, but not a ton.
Yeah, it's unusual for sure. Next up we have Thousand Face Shadow, which is 1 blue for a 1/1 creature human ninja. It has ninjutsu. Ooh, that's back. Has ninjutsu of 2 blue. So for those of you who don't remember Kamigawa from beforehand, ninjutsu is return an unblocked attacker you control to hand. Put this card onto the battlefield from your hand, tapped and attacking. So you basically swap this out with something else that you're attacking with that's not blocked. It has flying, and then it also has 1000 Face Shadow enters the battlefield from your hand. If it's attacking, create a token that's a copy of another target attacking creature. The token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. Wow, that is extremely dirty. Holy crap.
Yeah, so you swing with like 3 things, and they're blocking the big things probably, and the one's going to be unblocked or whatever that's going through. You ninjutsu this in, you duplicate the big thing, and now that's also attacking.
Yeah, like that. Oh God, and I'm pretty sure you can't react at that point.
No, not if they already declared no blocks. Then no,
because blocks are already declared.
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, here comes my freaking 9/9. Deal with it, fucker. It's like, oh my God.
Yep, that's
and ninjutsu is already a dirty mechanic to begin with, and this just takes it to the next level.
Yeah, this card is awesome. I like this card. And like you could just play it normally as 1 for 1/1 flyer and then just try and swing in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you won't get its ability, but still 1/1 flyer, and then you can ninjutsu something else if you have another ninjutsu card. It's definitely going in the black, blue, rogues ninjutsu decks.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. This card will definitely see play.
So what do you think is the best blue card?
That Tezzeret's really awesome, man.
Yeah, I would say the Jin-Gitaxias, the Tezzeret are probably the best two. My favorite one, I really want the Jin-Gitaxias. I want to try playing that in Legacy. I think that'll be sweet.
Yeah, you really like the old Jin-Gitaxias, so yeah, this definitely adds to that for sure. Blue, very powerful. Pretty typical, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, the worst card is that Mind Link mech. And the Invoke the Winds. Like, those two are, like, meh. Every other card is super good.
Yep. The rest of this color is awesome. Definitely looking good.
All right, so now we're on to black. So we got the first one here is Biting Palm Ninja. It's 2 and a black for a 3/3 with ninjutsu for 2 and a black. When it enters the battlefield, it gets a menace counter on it, so it enters with a menace counter. And when it deals combat damage to a player, you may remove the menace counter from it. When you do, that player reveals their hand, and you choose a non-land card from it and exile it. So you can either play this for 3 as a 3/3 with menace, that can swing in and then, Thought Seize them, basically. Or you can ninjutsu it in and immediately Thought Seize them.
Yeah. Nothing like a Thought Seize in a creature.
The one interesting thing for this card is the ninjutsu and the main cost are the exact same.
Yeah, that's very unusual. Usually the ninjutsu is a lot more. Yeah, it's very, very, very cheap, very versatile. So definitely easily done.
I mean, if you have a sacrifice deck, though, this could be pretty good because you can swing in with something, play this, exile a card, and then because it no longer has menace, just a 3/3, second to like Ashnod's Altar, and then bring it back with something. And then it has the menace counter again, do it again.
Seize them some more.
Yeah.
Screw up their hand. That's always fun, right?
Right.
Good stuff. Let's see. Next up, we have Blade of the Oni. It is 1 black for a 3/1 artifact equipment demon creature. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. With menace. And equipped creature has base power and toughness of 5/5, has menace, and is a black demon in addition to its other colors and types. And then it also has reconfigure to black.
Yeah, so this seems very good to me. I mean, especially in like limited format, right? Like 2 for a 3/1 menace is very good. And then the ability to pay 4 and just turn things into 5/5 demons with menace is pretty good.
That is pretty good. Those are really good stats and really, very easy to pay mana costs. Yeah, 2 for a 3/1 menace is in any kind of sealed or limited format is very good. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I like it on its face value almost more than the reconfigure because I don't know. I'd have to play with it a few times because I mean, like if you're playing an equipment deck or something, it's like, do I really need a 5/5? Maybe. If you have a token deck, it'd be good.
This is great for tokens for sure.
All right, next, Hidetsugu, Devouring Chaos. So he's back. 3 and a black for a 4/4 legendary creature, Ogre Demon. He has pay a black, sacrifice a creature, scry 2, so he's a sacrifice outlet on him, and then or pay 2 and a red, tap him, exile the top card of your library. You must play that card this turn. When you exile a non-land card this way, he deals damage equal to the exiled card's mana value to any target.
That is, the sack alone is very nice to have in black. And then if you're doing Rakdos deck, basically, sack outlet and dealing damage.
Yeah, sack outlet, dealing damage and you get the impulse card draw.
Yep.
So, like, it's like, oh, okay, sweet. I hit, a lightning bolt. Well, I get to deal 1 damage, and then I have a lightning bolt I can cast. But if you hit something crazy, like, oh, I hit my Blightsteel Colossus, deal 12 damage to somebody.
Yeah, that seems really good.
So.
Yeah, good card. 4/4/4/4.
I think it's going to see a lot of play in Commander, especially in the sacrifice decks that already exist for Black-Red. It's interesting because a lot of Black-Red decks, the commander is the payoff and not the outlet, and then you play a lot of sack outlets in your deck. So this could be the other way around, where you put the sack outlet as your commander, and then you don't play as many in your deck, and you can play a lot of just sacrifice payoff cards in the deck.
Yeah, it has lots of potential for sure. Next up, we have Invoke Despair, which is 1 black. So another one of these ones. So 5 mana costs altogether. Sorcery for target opponent sacrifices a creature. If they can't, they lose 2 life and you draw a card. Then repeat this process for an enchantment and a planeswalker.
This is okay. I mean, so they're getting rid of a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker, or losing 6 life. And you're drawing 3 cards.
I feel like this is better than the other despair or the other like invoke cards that we've seen, the sorceries. But still, it costs so much.
Yeah, I don't think it's the greatest. It is better than the other ones, I think, but it hasn't the greatest.
This is the best one so far for sure. But yeah, the A, you basically have to play it in a mono black deck, and B, the sheer cost of it just doesn't seem that great, especially for a rare card.
Right, and it kind of sucks to it's not an instant. Like,
yeah, exactly. They're only sorceries.
All right, next up we got Junji, the Midnight Sky. 3 black for a 5/5 legendary creature dragon spirit, flying and menace. And when he dies, choose one. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life, or put target non-dragon creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield of your control, you lose 2 life. So I love this card, except for one thing. The words non-dragon.
Yeah, I know.
Although this would be perfect.
It was a dragon.
It'd be perfect for my Kakusho deck if it could be dragons. Like oh, my sack my Kakusho, sack this, get him back.
Exactly. Yeah. Do it again. Yeah. Still very good though. 5 for a 5/5 flying menace. That by itself is so good.
Yeah, and that first ability too. Like if you have you're playing commander, you're getting 6 cards and 6 life with that first ability.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's really really powerful.
I mean, plus commander, if you're not playing dragon deck, it dies and you're like, okay, I'll bring back my Grave Titan or something.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's I'm sure you can build a deck around it where you can bring back all sorts of big things that are dealt with.
Sweet card. Like honestly, I could even play my current Kakusho deck with this as the commander because it literally is would do the same type of deck.
Yeah, so. It really would. Next up, we have March of the Wretched Sorrow. It is X and a black for an instant. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may exile any number of black cards from your hand. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. March of Wretched Sorrow deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker, and you gain X life. So honestly, for black, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so other than the blue one, I think the blue one's the best one so far, but this is probably the second best.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad.
Because you can kill a creature and gain some life.
Exactly. And, life's a resource, and
I mean, Planeswalkers is really good. Instant speed, kill a damn Planeswalker.
There's not many cards that do that. I mean, there's a couple, but not many. So that's nice being able to target them like that.
All right, then next we got Mukotatai, Soul Ripper. I probably butchered that name, but whatever. It's 1 and a black for a 4/3 vehicle artifact. When it attacks, you may sacrifice another artifact or a creature. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it gains menace until end of turn, and it has crew 2. So you need power 2 to crew it.
Wow. That is a very high power and toughness for the mana cost.
You do have to tap a creature, though, to attack.
You do have to tap one creature to attack, which it's a vehicle, but
it's honestly, still good though, because when you attack, it's a sack outlet that gets bigger and menace.
Yeah, that just seems like this can really snowball quickly.
Yeah, I think this is a good card.
Yeah, that's one of the better vehicles I've seen for sure. Next up, we have Nashi Moon Sage's Scion. It's 1 black for a 3/2 legendary rat ninja creature. It has ninjutsu, 3 black. Whenever Nashi Moon Sage's Scion deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library. Until end of turn, you may play one of those cards. If you cast a spell this way, you pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost.
Seems super good.
It seems very good.
Like, you're just like, okay, I'll ninjutsu in this 3/2, hit you for 3. Everybody flip up the top card, and then I'm going to cast the best card by paying life instead of mana.
Yeah, and again, as I said earlier, in black, your life is a resource. So, yeah, let's just play your best spell.
Yeah, I definitely want this card. This card will be sweet.
Very, very good. Black loves stuff like this, so yeah, that's very fun.
Next up, we got Soul Transfer. It's 1 black black. For a sorcery, it says choose one. If you control an artifact and an enchantment, you could choose both instead of just one. So it's exile target creature, planeswalker, return target creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand. And then if you have an enchantment and an artifact, you can get both.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, 3 mana exile creature is good.
Yeah, just that. I mean, that's basically like, yeah, or exile. That's even better. Yeah, that's better than like murder or something like that. Exile and destroys.
Yeah, the only downside is it's not an instant.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, most games you're probably gonna have artifact and enchantment out. Possibly,
Depending
I
on
don't
what
know.
deck you're playing.
Yeah, I don't know if you would on turn 3, but I mean, and then you can exile something and get something back.
In like commander or something, you definitely would. Like that's easy. That's a very easy thing to hit.
Right.
Granted, in commander, there's better cards that do similar things. But definitely good for standard and even like limited or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's even playable in Commander if you already have a lot of instant speed removal.
Right, yeah.
Because sometimes sorcery speed is needed. Like, because sometimes you play your instance at sorcery anyway, just to like remove a blocker or a problematic thing ahead of time.
Exactly.
So
you don't always have to play Magic at instant speed. Next up we have oh boy, okay. Tatsnuari Toad Rider. It is 2 black for a 3/3 legendary human ninja creature. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, if you don't control a creature named Kaimai, create Kaimai, a legendary 3/3 black and green frog creature token with whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And then it also has 1 and either green or blue. So tap. You have to tap those. Tatsunari Toad Rider and target frog you control can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with flying or reach. This is a very interesting card.
yeah, I think this is interesting as a commander because you could play what is that, Sultai enchantments.
Yeah.
Or you could play Sultai frogs and just make frogs unblockable. I don't know how many frogs there are in Magic though.
I don't either. There's a couple for sure, but they're older. They're older cards.
I also like the artwork. It's literally just a dude riding a frog.
Yeah, that frog is massive too. It's awesome. Yeah, and this would be a way to be able to do a Sultai commander deck. So,
yeah, that's interesting. I like the new design space with it.
Yeah, this is a really cool card. Not sure like how good it would perform, but very interesting concept.
All right, next we got the Black Saga here. So it's Tribute to Hirobi. It's 1 and a black for a saga. Its first and second step are each opponent creates a 1/1 black rat rogue creature token. So you're giving your opponents rats. And then the third one, you transform it, and it goes under your control. It transforms into a 3/3 enchantment creature spirit with flying and haste. When it enters the battlefield, you gain control of all the rat tokens. Of all rat tokens, so even if they somehow have rat tokens from playing a rat deck, you get those. And then whenever it attacks, you can sacrifice another creature to draw a card.
This card is fantastic.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, for 2 turns, I'm going to give people rats, and then I'm going to get all the rats, and then swing with a 3/3 flying haste that can make me draw cards when I attack.
It's like, hey, it's group hug. I'm giving you things. Just kidding. I get them back now. Sorry. And then I can use them to, draw cards? Is that what it is?
Yep.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh. That's pretty great. I only cast 2 too. It's very cheap.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good card.
Yeah, that card's pretty fantastic for sure.
So, what did you think about black in general?
Black seems very strong. There's some really good stuff in here. That blade is really good, I think. The saga is really good. And what else?
Yeah, honestly, when I'm looking through these cards, the only card I don't want is the Invoke Despair.
Yeah, it's like the Unvoke's like the only one that's not good. Like all these other ones are. Oh, the Haidatsugu or whatever the heck that is. That card's amazing, especially in Rakdos.
Yeah, I think the most powerful is probably the Hidetsugu or the Junji or the Nashi. Those are all really good though.
Oh yeah, the Nashi. I forgot about that one. That one's really good too. Yeah.
I definitely want the Nashi and the Junji for sure. I'm excited to play with the Junji in my deck.
Yeah,
And
Junji's
now,
really good.
but reading this saga, I could almost put that in my Kakusho deck too, and just like sack off my Kakusho, draw a card. Then I have a bunch of rats and a 3/3 flyer.
I mean, hey, draws your cards, man.
And the Toad looks awesome to build the deck around, like Sultai Enchantments. I've never seen that deck.
I really want to see a deck built around that because that seems like such a cool concept. I'm sure there's a way that it can be done.
Oh, I'm sure there is too. If I pull it at the pre-release, I'm building the deck around it.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, yeah. Black, very good. Definitely. Next, we are moving on to red. So let's see what red's got in store for us here. First of all, we have Atsushi, the Blazing Sky. It is 2 red for a 4/4 legendary dragon spirit creature with flying and trample. When Atsushi, the Blazing Sky dies, choose one. Exile the top 2 cards of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play those cards. Or create 3 treasure tokens.
Yeah, so I think it's super good just already because it's 4 for a 4/4 flying trample.
And then you get treasure tokens if it dies.
Yeah, if it dies, you can get 3 of the mana back, or if you don't have cards in your hand, you can get 2 like impulse draws.
Yeah. It's a pretty good card. And it's a dragon.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Next up, we got Explosive Singularity, which is 8 red, so 10 mana. Explosive. And as additional cost to cast this spell, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. This spell costs 1 less for each creature tapped this way. So if you tap 8 creatures, you can only cost 2. And then its effect is it deals 10 damage to any target. So you can 10 someone in the face, you can hit a planeswalker, a creature, whatever.
Well, if you have the field for it, dealing 10 damage for 2 mana is pretty damn good, but that's the only way this card is good.
Yeah, but unless you're playing like goblins and have 10 like 8 1/1s, like when are you going to have 10end creatures? Like otherwise, if you have 10 creatures, you're probably winning.
Yeah, you're going to win anyway.
Like it's just win more. Like
it's just overkill in the card. Totally unnecessary, but fun. I guess it's a fun card.
I mean, and with the mana cost, it's basically the exact same as just playing 2 lava axes.
It literally is. This is just one of those silly cards that it's just fun.
This is going to be the mythic. This is going to be the mythic everyone opens that nobody wants.
Exactly. Oh yeah, this is going to be the mythic that's going to cost like $1. Woo! This is going to be the mythic that James opens. Oh yes. Next up, we have the Red Saga, which is called Fable of the Mirror Breaker. It is 2 red. First step is create a 2/2 red goblin shaman creature token with whenever this creature attacks, create a treasure token. Second step is you may discard up to 2 cards. If you do, draw that many cards. And then step 3 is you exile this and it transforms into Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. It is a 2/2 enchantment goblin shaman creature that has tap 1 and tap it. Create a token that's a copy of another target non-legendary creature you control, except it has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Well, yes. There he is, Corey.
So basically, this flips into Kiki-Jiki.
Yeah, this is basically what it is.
So it's a slower version of Kiki-Jiki, obviously, but it only costs 3 mana.
Yep.
And then in 2 turns, you get a Kiki-Jiki.
And honestly, the steps leading up to it are pretty damn good.
So, I mean, is it good enough that you think that the Splinter Twin Kiki-Jiki deck is going to be back in Modern with this card instead?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's definitely slower, though.
Right. It's definitely a lot slower.
I don't know if it's going to be fast enough to be quite that level.
Unless you ramp it out turn 1, but like
that's about the only way. You pretty much have to do that.
Yeah, you have to mana ramp this out like turn 1, and then turn 3 you'd have to have the combo piece.
Yeah,
in your hand.
It'd be pretty difficult to pull off, I think. Very good in standard, though. Like, this seems like it could be pretty chaotic.
Yeah, definitely fun in Commander as well.
Oh, yeah, definitely good in Commander. Because in Commander, you have way more choices that you can use Kiki-Jiki for, so that's always a fun thing.
All right, next up we got Goro Goro, Disciple of Ryusei. So he's a disciple of the old dragon Ryusei. It's 1 in a red for a 2/2 legendary creature, Goblin Samurai. And it has pay a red, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. And then it has pay 3 red, create a 5/5 red dragon spirit creature token with flying. But you can only activate this if you control an attacking modified creature. And modified is a new keyword in this that means a creature that is augmented in some way by equipment, auras, or +1/+1 counters.
That's very interesting. So yeah, I mean, just the all creatures gain haste for red is pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, 2 for a 2/2 that gives yourself haste is good, and then if you attack with something that has an aura or equipment on it, you can make 5/5s.
Yeah, and 5/5s are good for sure. I mean, you are paying 5 to create a 5/5, so I mean, it's a very average mana cost to do it, but definitely not terrible.
Yeah, I think the haste part is the better part of the card.
Yeah, that's definitely what most people are going to use as far as the haste outlet, because red always likes to be able to smash your face as fast as possible, so that's what this is going to be used for. Next up, we have the red Invoke. It is called Invoke Calamity, which is 1 red, so 5 total for an instant. I think it's the first one that's actually an instant. Holy crap. You may cast up to 2 instant and or sorcery spells with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard and or hand without paying their mana costs. If those spells would be put into your graveyard, exile them instead. Exile Invoke Calamity. Okay, this is by far the best one we've seen so far.
Yeah, it's cast 2 things for free. That total
and it's
mana
instant
6
speed.
or less, so.
Thank God. Even the blue one was an instant speed.
Yeah, it's definitely the best one, but you're still probably only going to play it in mono red.
You definitely have to play mono red. There's no way you can. Again, these outside of any mono deck are just not happening.
All right, next up we got the Lizard Blades. It's 1 in a red for a 1/1 artifact creature equipment lizard with double strike, and then the equipped creature has double strike and it reconfigures for 2.
I mean, as an equipment, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, the 2 for a 1/1 double strike is whatever, but if you can equip this, just giving a big thing double strike is awesome.
Yeah, it's like give me my Blightsteel Colossus double strike. Why not?
That's unnecessary, but
so unnecessary. But yeah, that's pretty good for like an equipment card, basically.
I think this is going to be busted and limited because if you get it, you're just going to put it on every single one of your creatures.
Oh yeah, totally.
You're just going to swing. They're going to either block and kill. You're going to kill their things, or they're going to block and kill your thing. And then you're like, all right, well now I can make another thing bigger.
Exactly, and like double strike is like basically one of the best keywords you can use in that format. So definitely seems good for that. I mean, it seems good for definitely standard too. This is a quick way to deal some real damage. Next up, we have March of Reckless Joy. It is X and a red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may exile any number of red cards from your hand. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each card exiled this way. Exile the top X cards of your library. You may play up to 2 of those cards until end of your next turn.
So more impulse draw.
Yeah.
You can get rid of some bad cards in your hand to have more options.
In red, that's very good. Red loves to do kind of fever draws like that, so definitely
it's a solid card.
Yeah, pretty solid. Definitely played.
See, next we got Org-Headed Helm. It's 1 in a red for a 2/2 artifact creature equipment ogre. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Whenever Org, Head Helm, or the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, discard your hand and then draw 3 cards, and it reconfigures for 3. Side note: if you know who Beetle and Grim are, it's the guy from that plays Shaggy and Scooby Doo. He made a D&D company that makes like platinum edition pre-configured D&D books. Well, they partnered with Wizards to do a Kamigawa backpack that comes with a bunch of stuff. And one of the things you can get in it is a life counter that looks like this card, and it sits on the table.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like the artwork in this card, it looks like that ogre with the head thing, and you click the head thing to count up and down, and then it walks around like that. It's real big. It looks awesome.
That's sick. And honestly, pretty decent equipment, really.
Yeah, it's a decent equipment. I mean, it's +2/+2, and then when you have no cards, you can discard your hand, draw 3.
Yeah, I mean, in red loves to do stuff like that, especially if you're playing, fast paced like Burn or something. You want to get rid of dead cards as fast as possible, so it's a way to do it. Next up, we have Scrap Welder. It is 2 red for a 3/3 Goblin Artificer creature. And then it has Tap It. Sacrifice an artifact with mana value X. Return target artifact card with mana value less than X from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste until end of turn.
Yeah, so this is really similar to Goblin Welder.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing, really.
Yeah.
So great for any red artifact deck.
Any red artifact deck, you're going to use it. Next up, we got Thundering Riju. 2 red for a 3/3 spirit with haste. Whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then it deals damage to each opponent where X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of modified creatures you control other than him. So anything that has a 1/1 counter on it or equipment.
So if you're playing a red token deck or something like that, this can be pretty powerful.
Yeah, or just red 1/1 counters.
Or any kind of counters, basically.
Because, so at minimum, it's 4 for 3/3 haste that attacks, put a 1/1 counter on something else, and deals 1 damage.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
This can just snowball if you have the right kind of deck around it, for sure.
Yeah, and
that's it for red, then.
Yeah, so what's the best card you think in red?
Best card, Kiki Jiki, always great. Slower, but it's still Kiki Jiki.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I think the Double Strike swords are cool.
Yeah, that Lizard Blades card's really good. Singularity is just funny, but it's not good at all.
Right, and then the other dragon spirit, because I like dragons.
Yeah, the Atushi, that's very good. I was looking at that one as well.
Overall, so far, I think red is kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, I'd say it's a more underwhelming color so far, but definitely not bad by any means.
No, it's not bad, but it's just all stuff we've kind of seen before, or stuff that's meh.
It's definitely not as powerful as black or blue was, for sure. All right, so next we have green. So the first green card we have is called Invoke the Ancients, which is the green invoke, which is 1 green. So 5 total for a sorcery. Create 2 4/5 spirit creature tokens. For each of them, put your choice of a vigilance counter, a reach counter, or a trample counter on it. Honestly, not terrible, but it's okay.
I don't know. I think it's this is probably the second best one.
Yeah, I think the red one's probably still the best. But 2 4/5s, that's a lot of power.
Yeah, 2 4/5s. You can give one of them vigilance and one of them reach, or you could do trample vigilance, trample reach, whatever combo. 2 4/5s for 5 mana is not bad.
Yeah. I guess it's the stats are bigger than the mana cost, so yeah, this is definitely one of the better ones. Very good for green.
Yeah, and then next up we got kind of Jugen back. It's called Jugen Defends the Temple. It's 2 and a green for a saga. It's the first step is you create a 1/1 monk creature token with tap at a green. That's good. And the second one is put a 1/1 counter on up to 2 target creatures. That's pretty good. And then it flips into the remnant of Jugen the Rising Star. It's an enchantment creature dragon spirit that's a 2/2 flyer. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay X mana. When you do, put X +1/+1 counters on that creature. And then, as long as you control 5 or more modified creatures, the remnant of the Rising Star gets +5/+5 and trample.
This is very good for most green decks.
Honestly, I think this card is better than the original Jugen.
I think it is. This is powerful as hell.
So the original Jugen was just distribute like 6/1 counters or something.
Yeah, it was very. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't. Yeah, this is way better.
Yeah, this is just like you could put this in your commander deck even, and then it's just like,
this would be so good.
Yeah, when you flip all your excess mana, you're just buffing whatever you're playing. That's like your token comes in. Okay, I'm gonna buff all my mana into it to make it huge.
Because there's definitely turns where like I have so many ways to create mana and I don't have anything to put it into, and this is just something I could just drain my mana into and make everything huge.
Right. I really like this card. This card's cool.
Yeah, this is a good card for sure. Next up we have Kami of Transience. It is 2/2, or sorry, it is 1 and a green for a 2/2 spirit creature with trample. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Kami of Transience. At the beginning of each end step, if an enchantment was put into your graveyard from the battlefield this turn, you may return Kami of Transience from your graveyard to your hand.
Yeah, so 2/2 Trampler gets bigger when you play enchantments, and if it dies, then you play an enchantment, or if it dies and then an enchantment dies, you can bring it back.
Yeah, this is very versatile and can get big quick if you're playing the right kind of deck.
Yeah, I like it only costs 2. This might be a bomb and limited, depending on how many enchantments are in the main set.
Yeah, if you get like a full enchantment deck, basically. It's a 2/2 with trample, too, so you don't even have to like trample it. So yep. Yeah, this can be good.
All right, next, Kodama of the West Tree. So, Commander Legends, you had Kodama of the East Tree, which was busted. Now we have Kodama of the West Tree, which is 2 and a green for a 3/3 legendary creature spirit with reach. Modified creatures you control have trample. And then whenever a modified creature you control deals combat damage to a player, search your library for basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. So land fetches, like Kodama's reach.
This is really good, and a lot of green decks.
Yeah, it's super good, because like you have equipment and an aura or counters on something, and then you swing, and then you're going to search for lands. Like you swing with, say you have a team with 1/1 counters on it, you swing with 3 things, and they all do damage, you're going to get 3 lands.
And they all have trample. That's the best part.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, because that's one of my issues in like my commander decks is I don't always have ways to give stuff trample. This is a really easy way to do it.
Yeah, it is.
Because they all have +1/+1 counters on them, or at least most of them will. So it's like this card is very good. I like it a lot. Next up we have Korra the Boundless Sky. It is 3 green for a 4/4 legendary dragon spirit creature with flying and death touch. Ew. When Korra the Boundless Sky dies, choose one. Search your library for up to 3 land cards. Oh god, 3 land cards. Yeah, you heard that right. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. Or create an XX green spirit creature token where X is the number of lands you control. Wow, is this a good card?
Yeah, I think this card is really good. I mean, Death Touch is whatever, because it's a 4/4 flyer. I don't know if you need Death Touch on a 4/4, but whatever. But the effect that you can either get 3 of any land, so you can go fetch out your Cradle, put them in your hand, or whatever. All of your best lands.
Your Temple Garden, your whatever you got.
Or if you already have a bunch of lands in play, you're just like, I'm going to make like a 10/10 spirit token.
Yeah, just make something huge. Yeah, this card is, green likes that.
I like it. It's good. It's better than the old Jugen was. So, like, the green dragon is finally good.
Yeah, that's very good.
All right, next up we got March of Burgeoning Life. It's X in a green. As an additional cost, you can exile a number of green cards from your hand that can cost 2 less for each card exiled. Choose target creature with mana value less than X. Search your library for a creature card with the same name as that creature. Put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. This might be the best one of these.
Yeah, and it's instant, by the way. Very, very good. So it has to be same name, so can't play this in Commander, but in any other format, this is great.
Yeah. Well, you technically could play in Commander and choose a creature on the opponent's board that you have in your deck.
That's true, yeah. That's a good point. That has to be a very specific case, though.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, if it's something everyone plays, like, if you're both playing green, you might both have, like, Arbor Elves or something.
Right.
But, yeah, so this is probably more for outside of Commander. But I think that's good, because you basically just search for whatever card.
It could be good for, like, Limited or something, too, for sure. Or, Standard.
Yep. Let me just search for my best creature and put another one in.
Yeah, just get another one. Why not? Next up, we have Shigeki Jukai Visionary. It costs 1 and a green for a 1/3 legendary enchantment creature that's a snake druid. Oh god, more snakes. It's pay 1 green and tap it to return Shigeki Jukai Visionary to its owner's hand. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield tapped, put the rest into your graveyard. And then it has Channel. So you pay XX green. Discard
Yeah, so then you would discard it. So Channel's
and discard. Yeah, that's probably the cost. My bad.
Yep.
That's a big cost. Return X target non-legendary cards from your graveyard to your hand. This has a lot to unpack with this one.
Yeah, I think it's really good. Just the fact that it's 2 for a 1/3 that can, you could tap it, put a land in, bounce it to your hand, and then later in the game, instead if you don't need lands. You could channel it, and so what was that? 4 mana, you get 1 thing back. 6 mana, you get
1.
6 mana, you get 2 things. So it just keeps going up by 2. So 4, 6, 8,
10.
Yeah.
So I mean, it costs a lot, but you can choose anything.
I feel like the 4 mana for 1 thing is the most common thing you probably do.
The thing is that it's to your hand, so you still have to recast whatever you get.
Right. So that's why I think late game you do the 4 mana for 1 thing that you can still cast for like 6.
Yeah, you just get like your best thing that you might have died or something.
But you can do that as an instant, so you could hold up your mana and then end turn on your opponent's turn, just discard it with all your mana and get a bunch of stuff in your hand. Exactly.
And yeah, it's just the fact that it kind of has Topps ability in a way where it's like, if someone targets it, you can just return it to your hand. And then on top of that, you get lands.
Right. It'd be interesting as a commander because he is an enchantment creature and he gets lands. But you'd want lands that have abilities probably then because it's any land. It doesn't have to be basic.
Yeah, very, very, another land card, right? So this is great for commander for sure.
You could also kind of abuse it if you had, what's the thing where you could play lands from your graveyard? Crucible of Worlds?
Crucible, yeah.
So you can, keep mills, South Mill in mono green. I don't know how many cards support that, but you could do it, try it. You could have that and mulch and all that stuff.
Right, yeah. I feel like there's a lot of possibilities with this one. It's a very interesting card.
All right, next up I got Springleaf Avenger. 3 green for a 6/5 insect ninja with ninjutsu for 3 and a green. Whenever Springleaf Avenger deals combat damage to a player, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is just good.
This is good all around.
This is better than that last card where you have to discard it for 4 mana to get something back. This is you ninjutsu it, get something, and you have a chance to possibly get another thing.
And the ninjutsu is only 4. Like
That's
4,
what I'm
4,
saying.
6, 5. What the?
Yeah,
hell?
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you need Jitsu in a 6/5. They take 6. You get a card back.
This is so good.
Yeah, you're never going to hardcast this. You're going to ninjutsu it every time.
Oh God, no! Why the hell would you hardcast it? That's dumb. This is a great card and should be played in like all decks. That like in at least in standard, if not outside of standard. Honestly,
I think it's pretty good just in green. Like if you play E-Witness, you probably want this.
Oh yeah,
like because it costs 1 more mana only, and it's a 6/5.
Yeah. That hits them in the face for 6. Yep, that's a good card. So interesting here with green is we have more sagas. The other colors only had 1. So the next green saga is Teachings of the Kirin. It is 1 green for an enchantment that's a saga. First step is mill 3 cards, create a 1/1 color spirit creature token. Step 2 is put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And step 3 is you exile it and it flips into Kirin Touched Orochi, which is an enchantment creature, Snake Monk. It's a 1/1. Whenever Kirin Touched Orochi attacks, choose 1. Exile target creature card from your graveyard. When you do, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. Exile target non-creature card from a graveyard. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control.
So it makes tokens and gives you 1/1 counters for 2 mana. That's pretty good.
Yep, this is just great for a token deck that's green.
Yeah, the only downside is the 1/1.
Yeah, it's only a 1/1, so it's very, very targetable, but
I mean, it's a 2/2 if you attack and put a 1/1 counter on it right away.
I mean, you can buff it, I guess, yeah. But yeah. Definitely a nice little token engine and counter engine. So, and very cheap, too. Only costs 2.
All right, next up we got another saga in green. The Dragon Kami Reborn. 2 in a green for a saga. The first 2 abilities, 1 and 2, are you gain 2 life, look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile one of them face down with a hatchling counter on it, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And then the third one is you transform it into a 0/1 Dragon Kami egg. That's an enchantment creature egg. Whenever Dragon Kami's egg or a dragon you control dies, you may cast a creature spell from among cards you own in exile with a hatchling counter on them without paying its mana cost.
Wow.
So it's super good if you can, like in Dragons or the egg deck, like the Dino egg deck. Because you exile something under it, but you can only get 2 things max because you only get 2 things with
right. Yeah, because you have the 2 steps.
But the downside is like if they just blow up this enchantment, whatever you exile is exiled forever.
Right. So then you're fucked.
Yeah. But if you can get it to hit till turn 3, it could be good.
It's high risk, high reward, honestly.
But it only costs 3 mana, so it's like, does it really matter that much?
Not really. I mean, I think either way, you're happy with what you get.
Yep. I'm considering this for my dragon deck.
Yeah, because it's dragons again, and this also works with that. What's that deck? The egg deck called?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The Dino egg deck. I can't remember what the commander's name is.
That's like Talam.
Oh yeah, Atlapalani.
Atlapalani. Yeah, I can't fucking remember.
Yeah.
So that deck has another engine possibly too, which is good because there's basically it's just that deck that it doesn't. I don't know how much other things that technically work with that, but very interesting card, and it's kind of high risk, high reward, but when you're only paying 3 mana. I mean, I think you're pretty happy with what you get either way. Next up, we have Weaver of Harmony. It costs 1 and a green for a 2/2 that is an enchantment snake druid creature. Other enchantment creatures you control get +1/+1, and then it also has pay a green and tap it. Copy target activated or triggered ability you control from an enchantment source. You may choose new targets for the copy. Mana
So
abilities can't be targeted.
so double your enchantment triggers.
Yep, seems pretty good.
So if you have like the shrine deck, and you're like, oh, let me copy my blue shrine, draw more
Uh
cards.
huh. Or like copy doubling season. So that's
Yeah,
triggered technically.
yeah, anything that triggers, yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of possibilities with this card that can make it very, very broken, I feel.
All right, so that's green. What do you think of green?
Green has a lot of good stuff. My gosh.
Yeah, like
I like
honestly,
basically all of these cards.
yeah, all of them. The worst ones is the invoke and the march on burgeoning life.
Right, which I mean that's
Every other
totally
card I
valid.
want to play commander.
I want like the Kodama, and I want like the freaking like the token one. The teachings is really good, and the Jugen is like. There's so many good
Yeah,
cards
the
in here.
Jugen and the Kira is good. The Springleaf Avenger is good. The Shigeki is all right. The Weaver is good too.
Weaver's
The
really
Weaver's
good.
really good. Yeah.
And in the right kind of deck, that can just be busted, 100% busted.
Yeah, I think the
Green
best one. I
is
think the best ones is the Jugen of the Temple, the Kira, the Kodama, and then the Weaver probably.
yeah. Green is very powerful in this set.
Yeah, lots of good green
Powerful.
cards.
This is the most powerful I've seen green in a while, so this makes me happy.
Yeah, but green doesn't need the help. They always have good stuff.
I know, right?
All right, next we're going to move on to multicolored cards here. So the first one we got is a new planeswalker called Kyoto Shizuki. It's 1 blue and a black for a legendary planeswalker that comes in with 3 loyalty counters. And at the beginning of your end step, if he entered the battlefield this turn, he phases out. So you treat him as though he don't exist.
Ooh,
So
okay.
basically, they have to remove it on your turn because otherwise he's going to phase out till your next turn. So he kind of protects himself. Because with 3 loyalty, the +1 is draw a card, discard a card unless you attacked this turn. The -2 is create a 1/1 blue ninja creature token with this creature can't be blocked. And the ultimate is -7. You get an emblem with whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, search your library for a blue or black creature card and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle.
Just the phasing out by itself is really nice.
Yeah, just the fact that it protects himself. So it's just like, okay, let me play it. You're going to have to instant speed remove this on my own turn, or else he's going to stay around.
And there's a lot of decks that literally would not be able to handle that because because if they don't have like some kind of instant speed removal, they're just screwed.
Yeah, so realistically, I'm going to spend 4 rounds drawing a card, discarding a card probably, or just drawing a card if I attack.
Yeah,
and
if you
then
attack, you don't even have to discard.
And then just kill it off for that ultimate I swing with my unblockable rogues or something and keep getting big dudes out of my deck.
Yeah, this seems very good. This is a good Planeswalker. And I would hate to have to play against it if I wasn't playing like blue or black.
Yep.
Next up, we have Kodos the Silent Spider. It costs 3 blue black for a 4/4 legendary human ninja creature. And it has when Kodos the Silent Spider enters the battlefield, exile target card other than a basic land card from an opponent's graveyard. Search that player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. Then that player shuffles. For as long as you control Kodos, you may play one of the exile cards. And you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it.
Yeah, so you exile something from the graveyard and you get to cast it, basically. But if it's not commander, you're hosing all of them out of their deck. So you hit Gristlebrand, they no longer have Gristlebrand. You hit whatever, they no longer have any of them. And then in Commander, if they play like a Relentless Rats deck or something, you get all of them out of the game and they just lose. But the cool thing about this is, like, even in Commander, you could play it because you can exile something from the graveyard, play it, and then like flicker this and just choose another thing and then cast that. And you just keep casting things from people's graveyards.
Something on Brago. Well, yeah, if there's like a Brago, I know you can't do Brago because it's blue-white. trying
Well,
to think of
Conjur's Closet and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely other ways to
And the blue
some other
Thassa.
ETB kind of deck, and you can just abuse the shit out of this in Commander.
Another option would be when you flicker it to have to pay in the opponents for shuffling, because it does force them to shuffle because you're looking through the deck for a card. You could do the Corsi's Trickster that gets a 1/1 counter whenever opponent shuffles, or there's a artifact that's like whenever an opponent shuffles they take 2 damage.
Right. Yeah.
So you could just do that too, but I think they're trying to come up with ways that aren't as broken to play. What's the one? It's like Send Triplet type effects.
Right, or
where you play cards at the top.
What's that Legacy sideboard card? It's the
Surgical Extraction.
Surgical Extraction. Yeah, it's basically like a surgical extraction. Then you can play the cards.
Right, exactly.
It's disgusting. Very, very good at in not Commander format, especially because you can hit all of the cards. So yeah, this just seems so dirty.
Yeah, next up seems like one of the most powerful cards for a commander, Satoru Umezawa. It's 1 blue-black for a 2/4 legendary creature human ninja. It has whenever you activate a ninjutsu ability, you look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. This ability triggers only once each turn. So that's not the part that I think is busted. It's this part. Each creature card in your hand has ninjutsu for 2 blue-black.
Yeah, that's really good.
So let me just attack you with my 1/1 unblockable, and then I'll ninjutsu in for 4 mana, Blightsteel Colossus, you're dead.
Yep, this is literally a win con in so many ways. Let me just attack you with my 13 poison creature, and then you die.
Yeah, this is awesome because I like to play big stuff, so I would just fill my deck with big things and then little unblockable dudes. And just keep flipping them out, or things like when they enter, do shit, and just keep flipping that out. Like Agent of Treachery, put that in, gain control of something. Now I swing with it. Oh, it's unblocked. Okay, let me flip it out for something else. Then play it again.
Yeah, this is so, it can be so abused.
Yeah, I think he's an awesome card.
Yeah, for sure, totally, really, really good. Next up, we have a multicolor saga that's called Hidetsugu Consumes All. It is 1 black-red for saga enchantment. Step 1 is destroy each non-land permanent with mana value 1 or less. Step 2 is exile all graveyards. And then step 3, it transforms into Vessel of the All-Consuming, which is a 3/3 Ogre Shaman enchantment creature with trample. Whenever Vessel of the All-Consuming deals damage, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever Vessel of the All-Consuming deals damage to a player, if it has dealt 10 or more damage to that player this turn, they lose the game. This seems really disgusting.
Yeah, so this is just for 3 mana. First, you blow up everything that has 1 or less. So goodbye, everyone's Sol Ring and everything.
Yeah, all the mana rocks.
2, goodbye all graveyards. So no one's bringing anything back. Then you get a 3/3 with trample, and if it blocks, attacks, whatever to deal damage, you put a 1/1 counter on it. And if you get it up to a 10/10 and hit someone with it, they just die.
Yeah, they just lose. This card is such a meme. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like, all right, you know what's coming. You got 3 rounds to get rid of it, and then it's like, all right, can I buff it? If not, you got another 7 turns to get rid of this thing.
Exactly. It's literally it's literally like the doom clock of the game. Basically, it's like, all right, here we go. Who's gonna lose first?
Yeah, who's gonna get consumed?
Who can't deal with it?
The artwork's pretty cool too.
It looks really awesome. I love this card. Is just really cool in all ways. Just the kind of flavor of it and everything. Kind of silly again, kind of one of those kind of cards, but can, in the right circumstances, can be very good.
In limited, this is just going to win, right?
I think so. Limited has a hard time dealing with stuff like this.
Like, unless they have a removal spell that takes out a 4/4. Like,
yeah, that's they have to have it.
All right, next up we got Satsuki the Living Lore. It's a white and a green for a 1/3 legendary creature human druid. With tap, put a lore counter on each saga you control. Activate only as a sorcery. So this is like the saga commander. And then when he dies, you choose one. Return a saga or enchantment card or enchantment creature. Saga or enchantment creature you control to its owner's hand, or return a saga card from your graveyard to your hand.
Ooh, fun. All right.
The only downside to this is not 5 colors, so you can only play the green and white sagas.
So you have to play Celeste in your deck,
which I think there's only 20 something green and white sagas in existence. So you'd probably have to play all of them.
Right. So it's definitely limiting, but it can be a good card though.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, if especially in something like outside of the commander format, also can be very good and like.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just speeding up your sagas to immediately get your stuff out. Like this Hideki consumes all, right? So like on turn 2, you could have it.
Exactly. That's really awesome. Next up, we have Greasefang Okiba Boss. It costs 1 white-black for a 4/3 legendary rat pilot creature that has, at the beginning of combat on your turn, return target vehicle card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste, return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of your next end step.
Yeah, so this can be abused, but not like a ton. So like first turn, so it's vehicle black-white deck, right? If you build it as commander. Mm-hmm. First turn you entomb, put like Palinchron 3 in your graveyard or something, and then say you get that back, you still have to crew it, so you crew it with Greasefang for 4, and then you swing and you get 2 4/4 angels, and then that thing that costs 8 mana is now back in your hand, which kind of sucks there. Right. So it's a slow vehicle commander deck that resurrects big things.
Yeah, I mean, if it has like things with ETB too, that could maybe be good, but yeah, you have to definitely create the right kind of scenario for this to work like well, I feel.
Yeah, and like just of the vehicles that we've seen so far, I haven't seen any that are like super busted too.
No, not really. I mean, there's some that are okay, but nothing really good.
All right, next up we got Spirit Sister's Call. 3, a white and a black for an enchantment. This is the beginning of your end step. Choose target permanent card in your graveyard. You may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with the chosen card. If you do, return the chosen card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it gains, if this permanent will leave the battlefield, exile instead. So you could swap stuff in play for stuff in your graveyard.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
So I'll get rid of my land, get my cradle back that you blew up.
Exactly, yeah.
Get rid of my 1/1, get back a 7/7.
Yeah, interesting card. Man, this is really interesting. It's an interesting way to bring things back, for sure. Okay. Still trying to like fully comprehend.
Yeah, so enchantment for an enchantment, artifact for an artifact, planeswalker for a planeswalker. It's basically you just swap one of something for one of the same thing. That's it.
Right. This is kind of a cool card for sure. I love the artwork of this, by the way. This artwork is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if this could be very well used in the right situation, especially
I feel like it's definitely...
I have like a mana rock. Let me get my better artifact.
Yeah, it's definitely like a dirtily deck. Like you're just going to be like, oh, I play this, get its ETB. Okay, I stop it by killing it. Okay, now I swap this for that one. Get it again. Like, it could be good with like Hornet Queen and stuff too, and like stuff with ETBs.
Sure. Tokens and things, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can easily get stuff with that. Yeah, interesting card for sure. We'll have to see how that gets used. Next up, we have Ijanjo Uprising. It is X red white for a sorcery that has create X2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance. They gain menace and haste until end of turn. Each opponent creates X-1. Sorry. Each opponent creates X-1/2/2 white samurai creature tokens with vigilance. That is an interesting way to word that.
So the first part, yes, this card's super good. Then you read the bottom part. No, this card sucks.
Oh, damn.
I don't want my opponents getting tokens too. The only way that this is good is like with the Impact Tremors combo or something, where whenever a weak creature comes in, just deals damage to him.
Yeah, so the first part's good. The second part makes it kind of negligible.
Yeah. This is a bad card, in my opinion. I'm not playing it. Like, you get one more token than your opponents.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, like there's so many better cards that give you tokens.
And yeah, they have Menace and Haste. Tokens. Like, yeah, they get Menace and Haste, so they can't, like, trade them all off. They can only trade off half of them, but it's still, like, whatever.
It's kind of dumb.
All right, next up we got Ryu Storm's Edge, a legendary creature, human samurai that costs 2, a red, and a white for a 3/3 with first strike. And whenever a samurai or warrior you control attacks alone, untap it. If it's the first combat phase of the turn, there's an additional combat phase after this phase.
Ooh. It's one of these cards. Oh my.
Yeah, so attacks alone, so it works with Exalted. And then works to give you extra combat phases with Samurai and Warrior decks.
Yeah, this can be really good.
I think it's good. You could even just play Voltron with just him, and he'd swing. Yeah. Okay, now I get another swing with him.
Yep, you're all set. Yeah, additional combat phase. That's always good. You just deal a ton of damage.
Yep.
Next up, we have Raisona Asari Commander. It costs 1 red white for a 3/3 legendary human samurai creature with haste, and it also has whenever Raisona Asari Commander deals combat damage to a player, if it doesn't have an indestructible counter on it, put an indestructible counter on it. Whenever combat damage is dealt to you, remove an indestructible counter from Raisona.
So this is going to be good in Limited or Standard, but in Commander, it's in the name. Asari Commander. It's the worst freaking Commander.
Yep.
Because, like, who cares? Ooh, I get indestructible for a round.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo.
So, yeah, it's a meh card. It's good in Limited.
Yeah, right. In the right format, it's good, but not in everything.
Next up, we got Tamio, the Completed Sage. It's 2, a green, a blue, and a Phyrexian hybrid blue and green, which can be paid, which is called Completed. It can be paid with green, blue, or 2 life. If the life was paid, it enters with 2 fewer loyalty counters. Okay, so it's legendary Planeswalker Tamio. Comes in with 5 if you pay 2 green, blue, or green, blue. Comes in with 3 if you pay 2 green, blue, and 2 life. And its +1 is tap up to 1 target artifact or creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Then it has -X, exile target non-land permanent card with mana value X from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it. And then -7, create Tamio's Notebook, a legendary colorless artifact token with spells you cast cost 2 less to cast and has tap, draw a card.
So why would you ever pay life to play this?
If you only had 4 mana, you're stuck on 4 mana?
I mean, I guess. Otherwise, yeah, you literally can alt it in 2 turns.
Yeah, I don't. Me personally, I don't think I'd ever pay life for it.
No, you always, unless you absolutely can't, you always pay the mana.
I mean, in Standard, you might pay the life to rush it on turn 4 and lock down a creature, but
right, yeah.
Yeah, in Commander or something, like you're always going to just pay it for 5.
Pretty nice effects here, from what I can see.
Yeah, I like the Planeswalkers in this set. They're all really good.
Yeah, and that's a nice alt too. Like the blue likes spell reduction, and blue also likes drawing cards. So I mean, hey, why not both?
Yep, and you got green, so you got the mana ramp. So that's why I think you'll always pay 5 too, because like green is mana ramp.
if you're playing in green, you're probably gonna have enough mana in most cases, unless you're like really screwed or something. Next up, we have Ishin, Two Heavens as One. It costs red, white, black for a 3/4 legendary human samurai creature that has, if a creature attacking causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So, more triggers!
Yeah, double your attack triggers. So let me attack with Sun Titan and get that ability twice.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, or Grave Titan.
Or Grave
All
Titan.
the Titans. The Sundering Titan, too.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, that's awesome. One that I saw in the Command Zone combo, too, is the hero guy you play, the hero of Bladehold.
Right, yeah.
You attack with him, it's going to trigger Battle Cry twice and his ability to make tokens twice.
Yeah, that's just nasty.
So that seems like a really fun deck. Attack triggers double.
Yeah, this card is just asking to be abused.
Yeah, I mean, a Tolly, you get a Tolly twice. Somewhere you swing and you can play shove people's decks for free.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Yeah. Definitely, I feel like this card can be played in many, many things. So, yeah, we'll probably be seeing this.
Yeah, that's a good card. Next, we got Hinata the Dawn Crowned, which is 1 blue, red, white, legendary creature, Kirin Spirit, 4/4 with flying and trample. That says spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each target. Spells your opponents cast cost 1 more to cast for each target. So people are talking about this as one of the best commander cards in the set, possibly CEDH level, because like there's cards that target every player or something. So it's like target 4 things. So then that costs like 6 mana, and it's like okay, so you target yourself even, and everyone takes 2/4 damage or something, and then it only costs 2, and then you get a 4/4 and draw 2 cards.
Yep.
Like, so it's really good on those, or like Comet Storm with the multi-kick, you can add extra targets. The multi-kick is basically free then, so you can just add infinite targets.
Yeah, you're making the multi-kick actually good.
Yeah. And then the fact that it just makes your opponent's stuff cost 1 more is nice. I mean, and then if it's something that hits multiple targets, it's going to cost more than 1.
Way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, this seems very good, especially in Commander, for sure.
Yeah, and it's Jeskai colors, so you got blue, red, and white. It's good stuff.
America.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we got another multicolored saga. It's called The Kami War. It is 1 and all 5 of the colors, so 6 total. First step is exile target non-land permanent an opponent controls. Second step is return up to 1 other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then each opponent discards a card. And then step 3 is it transforms into Okagachi Made Manifest, which is a 6/6 enchantment dragon spirit creature. Hey, it's a dragon. Okachi Made Manifest is all colors. It has flying and trample. And then whenever Okachi Made Manifest attacks, defending player chooses a non-land card in your graveyard. Return that card to your hand. Okagachi Made Manifest gets +X+0 until end of turn, where X is the mana value of that card.
Yeah, so exile something, bounce something, make your opponent's discard, and then swing, and you're going to get a bunch of stuff back and buff this guy, and he's a dragon.
Yeah, and in a dragon deck, all your stuff's going to cost a lot, so he's going to get big.
Yeah, this is a really good card in a dragon deck. And, worst case, you pay 6 mana to exile something, and they blow it up right away, but, you still exiled something. So...
yeah, this is pretty good.
So, what do you think about multicolored? What's the best card?
God, that the two heavens as one is just so good. That's going to be abused as hell. The Tameo is really good, I think. What else was there?
Yeah, the Satoru Umezawa, super good.
Yeah.
The ninjutsu guy.
Oh yeah, him. Right.
And then the other,
the Silent Spider. That card's disgusting.
The other Planeswalker's good. Honestly, almost all these cards are good except for the Boros ones.
Yeah, the Boros is kind of meh.
Like the Boros ones are the meh cards.
Yeah. Yeah, everything else is pretty damn good though.
I really want that Kami the War.
Yeah, that just has your name written all over it for your dragons.
I really want Tameo too because I like Tameo.
Yeah, and that Tameo is very good.
I think I own every Tameo, so I might as well get the
Tameo has just been a solid Planeswalker all around. It's like the next Jace, basically.
Right. All right, next up we're on to artifacts. First one is Eater of Virtue. It costs 1 mana for a legendary artifact equipment. Whenever equipped creature dies, exile it. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. As long as a card exiled with Eater of Virtue has flying, equipped creature has flying. The same is true for First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Haste, Hexproof, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Protection, Reach, Trample, and Vigilance, and it has equip cost of 1.
This seems like a very good card if you have like a lot of keywords in your deck.
Yeah, I think this is a staple in the keyword counter deck that I have, Cathrall.
Yeah, the Mutate deck. Yeah, this
well, the Cathrall
likes this.
Well, Mutate too, but the Cathrall one where like you for every keyword in your graveyard it'd make a big dude. Yeah,
that's right. I forgot.
So then you equip it to this and it dies, and it's like, okay, well now I have things with a bunch of keywords. Now I'm going to get a bunch of keywords on everything I equip with this for 1 mana.
Right. Yeah. This that's a good, and it costs like 1 and 1 to equip. Like that's so cheap.
So worst case it's 1 and 1 to equip, so 2 mana for +2/+0.
Right.
Even if it's not getting anything.
Yeah. Like that's not bad. It just that's like what Nodachi was basically. That cost.
Yeah. It's super good. And limited, this is going to be busted too, because you're just going to put any creature with any ability in your deck.
This is a bomb in limited. Holy crap, you're going to trample people with this. Let's see. I'm next, right?
Yep.
Okay. Next up, we have Mech Titan Core. It costs 2 for a 2/4 artifact vehicle. It has pay 5, exile Mech Titan Core, and 4 other artifact creatures and or vehicles you control. Create Mech Titan, a legendary 10/10 construct artifact creature token with flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink, and haste. That's all colors. When that token leaves the battlefield, return all cards exiled with Mech Titan Core except Mech Titan Core to the battlefield tapped under their owner's control. It has crew 2. Holy crap, that was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so basically you're going to play this, then you're going to exile it in 4 other things to make a 10/10 with flying, vigilance, trample, lifelink, haste. And then when that dies, you get all of the things you exile with it back except for this card.
This is like literally Voltron.
Yeah, it's super good. It's like, come together into my giant Megatron, or whatever.
With our powers combined,
the Power Rangers Zords. That's what it is. Yeah,
it's literally. Oh god, I love the flavor. It's like every cartoons of the '90s ever, basically. This card's great, and it only costs 2. It doesn't even cost that much.
Yeah, it does cost 5 and 4 artifacts to activate its ability, but in an artifact deck, you're going to have that. So
easy.
Next up is Mirror Box. 3 mana for an artifact. The legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control. Each legendary creature you control gets +1/+1. Each non-token creature you control gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control with the same name as that creature.
Okay.
So this is really good in not commander formats where you could play 4 ofs of the same thing.
Yes, and I would love to play 4 ofs of Elish Norn.
Yeah, just like when you have them all out and they're all getting +3 or +4/+4.
Yeah.
And
my god. And all their shit gets like -6, -6. Good luck.
If you know a Snorn. But yeah, for any legendary thing you have 4 of out, you're going to get +4/+4 though.
Right. This, oh god, this is silly.
Yeah, it's just like another mirror gallery type effect, but it also buffs legendary stuff. You could also play this in Commander if you just didn't want the legend rule. So, like, if you just wanted to be able to copy your commander a bunch of times, you could do that.
Yeah, I mean, there are some decks that definitely benefit from that. So I could see that being played in certain ones for sure. Next up, we have Reckoner Bankbuster. It costs 2 for a 4/4 artifact vehicle that has Reckoner Bankbuster enters the battlefield with 3 charge counters on it. And then it also has pay 2 and tap it, remove a charge counter from Reckoner Bankbuster, draw a card. Then, if there are no charge counters on Reckoner Bankbuster, create a treasure token and a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with this creature crews vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. And then it has crew 3.
Yeah, so if you have a vehicles deck, you can make 1/1s that crew for 3, or you can buff them and they crew for 2 more than what you buff them to.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad. So then you can do better stuff with 1/1s, basically.
Yep, it's definitely a decent vehicle. I don't know how good it is outside of the vehicle deck, but...
Right, yeah.
I mean, I guess it makes... Like, if you do it once, you draw a card and make... when there are no counters on it. So you got to do it a bunch of times just to be able to get
it twice before you can get it.
Okay. Next up, we have another vehicle, the Surge Hacker Mech, 4 mana for a 5/5 artifact vehicle with Menace. When it enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to twice the number of vehicles you control to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls, and it has crew 4.
So again, if you have a vehicle deck, that's very good.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, it's 4/4/4/4/5 with Menace.
What do you think about these 5 artifacts we got here?
The core and the sword are pretty awesome.
The other ones are just meh to me, but the sword and the core are sweet.
The mirror box is kind of whatever, and then the vehicles are, if you have a vehicle deck, sure, I guess. But yeah, I really like this sword. This sword is really, really cool. And then I do like this core. This core is just, that can just be so fun and like an artifact deck.
Yeah, I mean, plus if you populate it, you get another 10/10.
Exactly. Why not? Why not have 2? Next up, we have the lands for this set. So first one is Ijanjo, Seat of the Empire, which is a white legendary land. It has tap to add white. It has channel, pay 2 white, discard Ijanjo, Seat of the Empire. It deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control.
Yeah, so this seems awesome. I mean, if you're playing this as a commander, it's 2 mana, deal 4 damage. Target your blocking creature. And that's, best case, if you draw late game, you could use it as like a spell like that by discarding it. Or early game, it's a plains.
Exactly. I mean, it's a plains, and it doesn't come into play tapped or anything like that, so that's also nice. Yeah, nice ability.
Like, if you're playing a white deck, why not play this?
Exactly, may as well.
Let's see, now on the blue one, it's Atala Soaring City. Taps for a blue, it's a legendary land, and a channel for 3 in a blue, discard it. Return target artifact, creature, enchantment, or planeswalker to its owner's hand. This ability costs 1 less for each legendary creature you control.
Yep, so you get to bring stuff back.
No, you get to bounce.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah. So bounce on a land, pretty sweet.
Yep. Yeah, this is literally just a land.
Like, all of these are going to be definitely put in your deck if you're playing this color.
All seem so good. Just the fact that you don't have to, that they're not slow, like they don't come into play tapped, is so good.
And then you have the option to discard it for an effect, which basically is like a spell. Only I don't even know if they can react to the channel. Like, it's like instant speed.
I don't know.
Like, they'd have to have like a stifle or something, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably have to be stifle because I think it's technically an ability. It's not a spell. Next up, we have Takanuma Abandoned Mire, which is the black legendary land. So it can tap, add for a black, or you can channel it for 3 black. You discard it, mill 3 cards, then return a creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control.
Seems good.
So yeah, milling cards in black. That's always a good thing, especially in Reanimate.
I'm just going to want like 10 of all these so I can put it in every deck.
Yeah, pretty much.
Next up, we got the red one. Sokerenza, Crucible of Defiance. Legendary land, taps for red. 3 and a red, channel, discard it. Create 2 1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens. They gain haste until end of turn. Cost 1 less for each legendary creature you control. That's the worst one so far, in my opinion.
Yeah, that one's okay. I wouldn't say it's great. So let's see what the green one has for us. The green one is called Boseiju. Boseiju, who endures, which is the green legendary land. It taps to add a green, and then you can channel it for 1 green and discard it. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land an opponent controls. That player may search their library for a land card with a basic land type, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control.
Yeah, so this is by far the best one.
Yeah, this is like a green like path, basically.
It's basically one green, and you can basically destroy artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land. So it's like what's the Nature's Claim, but you can also hit a non-basic land if they have an annoying land.
Right, like freaking
like Cradle or something.
Yeah,
like this is the one I think is going to be worth the most. So if you're going to spec on one, I'm guessing this might be around $40 because like this is a really good card.
That is it literally will cost 1 too, especially if it's in Commander, because you will always have at least your Commander in play.
Right.
So very good. Very
and worst case, the forest.
Worst case is a forest. Like that's fine. So honestly, outside of the red one, these are all really good.
I mean, I'd still play the red one in my red decks because why not?
It's still fine.
Like it's a red card that late in the game, it's better than drawing a land.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can do something with it.
So like, I think these are just staples in every deck now.
Yep. There's no reason not to run them.
I mean, unless you really need basics for your fetches.
Unless you're hurting for fetches or something. Like they don't hurt you outside of the fact that they're not. Like you don't have the land types in them like some of like the duels and things have, but like they're not slow. They still add your land if you need land, and they also cast spells basically. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I really love these lands. This was a smart idea. You got a new cycle of lands that everyone's gonna like.
Yeah, these are definitely gonna be used for sure.
All right, so I think we're just gonna power on through and do the commander cards now, guys.
Alrighty.
So
extra long.
Yeah, extra long episode today. So now we're doing the commander set cards.
2 hours. We may as well go for another one.
We're doing Aerial Surveyor. It's 2 and a white for a 3/4 artifact vehicle with flying. Whenever it attacks, a defending player controls more lands than you. Search your library for a plains. Put it on the battlefield tapped, and it costs 2 to crew it. So this is white land fetch. This is like, a standard in every deck now, right? That plays mono white.
I'd say so.
Commander, definitely.
For sure. Next up we have Drum Bellower. It is 2 and a white for a 2/1 spirit creature with flying. Untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step.
That's really good.
Seems really good.
Especially for white.
Yeah, very good for white. Yeah, that's like a Seedborn use, basically.
Yep.
That costs 3.
Right, yeah, it's crazy good. Next up, we got Iron Soul Enforcer, 4 and a white for a 4/4 artifact creature human samurai. Whenever Iron Soul Enforcer or a commander you control attacks alone, return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
So another kind of exalted card here, it looks like.
Yep, bring back the artifacts.
Yep, very good. Next up, we have Organic Extinction. It's 8 white for a sorcery that has the keyword improvise. Your artifacts can help cast this spell. Each artifact you tap after you're done deactivating mana abilities pays for 1. Destroy all non-artifact creatures.
Yeah, so Organic Extinction seems like a good card. Destroy all non-artifact creatures, and you can use artifacts to cast it.
Yeah, always good, and especially in some kind of affinity deck like that.
Yeah, seems awesome. Let's see. Next, we got a Myosian. So it looks like they brought back Myosians. Remember the old Myosians?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, so Myosian of the Blooming Dawn is the white one here. It's 5 and 3 whites, white, so 8 mana total. For a legendary creature spirit, 4/6. It enters the battlefield with the indestructible counter on it if you cast it from your hand. Remove an indestructible counter from it. Create a 1/1 spirit creature token for each permanent you control.
Okay, so this is ultimate white.
Yeah, so this is
flood your board.
Flood my board, double make like if I have a bunch of lands and there's stuff, it's I get a 1/1 for every single thing now.
Yeah. This is pretty good for white. White likes, any kind of like token deck will love this 100%. I love this like full art one too. That one looks, or well, I guess it's like,
the alt art.
Alt art, yeah.
Borderless. I think it's borderless, right? Yeah, borderless. Art.
Yeah, borderless. That's what it is. Next up, we have Release to Memory. It is 3 white for an instant. Exile target opponent's graveyard. For each creature card exiled this way, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token.
So more cards that hose my graveyard decks that I don't like.
More graveyard hate for Corey.
More graveyard hate that I don't want to exist. But it's good because it's in white and you also get spirit tokens for every creature you get rid of.
Yep, so you also get a board, most likely. That's nice.
Yeah. Next up, we got Swift Reconfiguration. It costs 1 white for enchantment aura with flash that enchants a creature or a vehicle. Enchanted permanent is a vehicle artifact with crew 5 and loses all other card types. So basically, you're going to want to put this on an opponent's creature, probably.
Exactly, like their commander or something.
And now it's just a crew 5 thing.
It's like, haha, deal with it.
It looks like it still has abilities, though, right? Yeah, so it's just loses all other card types. Yeah, so it's just not a creature in this crew.
Types. Okay,
yeah, so you still have your abilities, you just aren't a creature. So you probably played on like their biggest thing. Like if they have a 10/10, like okay, your 10/10 isn't shit unless you crew 5 it.
Exactly. So you gotta make them tap stuff to attack with it.
Yep. Next up, oh, you got the next one. That's right.
Yeah, I got the next one. Next up, we have Yoshimaru Ever Faithful. It is 1 white for a 1/1 legendary creature dog. Whenever another legendary permanent enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Yoshimaru Ever Faithful, and it has partner.
Yeah, so you can have him as a second partner to anybody because he's a dog. He's the dog. He's a partner of somebody. But guess what? You got a dog commander now.
Hey,
I think there was one other one that was cats and dogs before, I think, but like one that was both cat dog.
Okay.
But now there's just the dog one. It's good because if you play other legendary permanents, it gets +1/+1.
Yeah, I feel like this could, in the right deck, could get pretty big.
So what do you think overall of the white commander cards?
I mean, the Myosian, of course, is very good, as expected. Release of Memory is pretty good. Yeah.
I like that Organic Extinction. I mean, it does cost a lot, but with artifacts, you're just going to tap all your artifacts.
It costs 2, so yeah.
Yeah, 2 and tap a bunch of artifacts, and you're going to kill everything that's not an artifact. So,
yeah, very good for an artifact deck. Yeah, definitely some nice cards here.
Right, on to blue. Right. On to blue commander cards. The first one up is Access Denied. Access Denied. 3 blue instant for counter target spell. Create X 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. where X is that spell's mana value. So I love the title of it, but I don't. And the artwork's cool, but like, okay, it's a counter spell. Ooh.
Yeah, and it has like the same amount as force.
But you do get a bunch of tokens out of it. But
you could get an army out of it, but it's just like it's expensive.
Yeah.
There's better counter spells for sure. Next up, we got Cyberdrive Awakener. It is 5 and a blue for a 4/4 artifact construct creature with flying. Other artifact creatures you control have flying. When Cyberdrive Awakener enters the battlefield until end of turn, each non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness of 4/4.
So this is like.
This makes your whole deck just destroy somebody.
So this is like take your artifacts and overrun them into 4/4 flyers for a round.
Yeah. Seems good.
Seems pretty good in an artifact deck.
Yeah.
Which this is in. I'm assuming this is in the precon deck, because the two precons are the artifacts deck and the vehicles deck and the vehicles artifacts, and then I can't remember what the other one is, but
this definitely makes sense in a deck like that, because, yeah, especially if you have like a bunch of like just Thopters that are all shitty and whatever. It's like, okay, well, now they're 4/4s, deal with it.
Next up, we got Imposter Mech. It's 1 and a blue for a 3/1 artifact vehicle. You may have Imposter Mech enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature an opponent controls, except it's a vehicle with crew 3 and loses other card types. So you could copy an opponent's creature, but it becomes a vehicle.
So, I mean, you probably do this for the effect, most likely, of a creature.
I mean, it doesn't only cost 2 mana to copy something.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, if it's a good creature like Platinum Angel, can't lose the game or something like that. Like, sure, why not?
Right.
Next up we got Kappa Cannoneer. It costs 5 and a blue for a 4/4 artifact creature turtle warrior. It has improvise, so you can basically make it cost only 1 if you have 5 artifacts. It has ward 4. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Kappa Cannoneer, and it can't be blocked this turn.
That seems good.
Yeah, especially if you have the artifacts to back the improvise cost. That's a pretty darn good card, I feel.
And
it
like
protect itself.
The picture, it's like a turtle with a giant cannon on its back.
Yeah, I like the art. That's pretty cool.
All right, next up we got Katsumasa, the animator. 2 blue for a 3/3 legendary creature Moonfolk Artificer with flying, and has pay 2 and a blue until end of turn. Target non-creature artifact you control becomes an artifact creature and gains flying. If it's not a vehicle, its base power and toughness becomes 1/1 until end of turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 3 target non-creature artifacts. So you can buff so in the vehicles deck, you can buff your vehicles when they're not creatures, then make them creatures for 3 mana instead of crewing them.
Seems pretty good. Nice way to get around the cost for sure.
Yeah, it's an okay card.
Yeah, it's situational and it can be good depending on it. Next up, we have a blue Myojin. This is the Myojin of Cryptic Dreams. It costs 5 blue for a 3/3 legendary spirit creature token. Legendary spirit creature. Myojin of Cryptic Dreams enters the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it if you cast it from your hand. Remove the indestructible counter from Myojin of Cryptic Dreams. Copy target permanent spell and control 3 times. Copy target permanent spell you control 3 times.
Yep.
The copies become tokens.
Yeah, so basically you'd play something on the stack that's a permanent, then remove the counter and you get 4 of them.
Yep.
So I played Doubling Season. Now I have 4 Doubling Seasons.
All of the Doubling Seasons.
But the fact that you have to cast these from your hand is like, okay, I'm going to pay 8 mana for this?
Yeah, I mean...
For a 3/3 indestructible? I mean, unless you Unless you have like Joda or something, just pay 5.
Right. I mean, that's how the old ones were too. They cost a shit ton. Granted, the old ones had like 6/6 as their power and toughness, though. And they were broken.
Yeah. Next up, we got Research Thief, 4 and a blue for a 3/3 flash flying artifact creature Moonfolk Wizard. And whenever an artifact you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. It's pretty good. Draw whenever you deal damage.
That seems pretty nice. And it has flash and flying, so I mean you can throw it in on your like combat. Draw some cards. Next up, we have Universal Surveillance. It's X blue 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 for a sorcery with Improvise. Draw X cards, so you can draw a butt ton of cards for only 3 mana if you got the artifacts for it.
Yeah, that's
good
true.
To me.
Yeah. What do you think about these blue commander cards?
Blue seemed a little weak in some cases. I feel like the
Miosian's good.
The Miosian's pretty good.
And the Universal Surveillance is good.
The Surveillance is good. Outside of that, though, it's kind of like...
Yeah, it's kind of underwhelming. I'm sure these are all in the artifact deck, so that makes them better.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, on to the black cards here. We got Miosian of Grim Betrayal, 5 black for a 5/2 legendary creature spirit. Enters the battlefield with an indestructible counter, and if you cast it from your hand, remove the indestructible counter, put onto the battlefield under your control all creature cards in all graveyards that were put there from anywhere this turn.
Okay, so that's a very good card.
So that's, board wipe, and then, this doesn't die, so let me activate this and get all the cards I just killed.
Yep. Seems good to me. That seems like a black win con if I've ever seen one in my life. Next up, we got Ruthless Technomancer. It costs 3 and black for a 2/4 human wizard creature. When Ruthless Technomancer enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice another creature you control. If you do, create a number of treasure tokens equal to that creature's power. It also has pay 2 and a black, sacrifice X artifacts. Return target creature card with power X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. X can't be 0.
That's good.
Definitely good.
Only 2 black cards. Obviously, the black is the color that is not in the commander decks.
Yep.
Because the commander decks are blue-white and green-red. So these cards you actually get in the set. You can only get in the set booster packs.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so anything that's not in the 2 commander decks that we talk about in this commander cards, you can only get in the set boosters.
Right. Both are very good, in my opinion.
Both those black cards are very good. All right, on to red here. We got a Kiki Battle Squad, 5 and a red for a 6/6 Goblin Samurai. Whenever 1 or more modified creatures you control attack, untap all modified creatures you control. After this combat, there's an additional combat phase. This ability triggers once each turn.
And once is plenty.
Yeah, it seems good. I mean, it sucks it costs 6, but it's still good.
It does cost a lot, but it's still 6 for a 6/6.
So I take it that the red-green deck is about modified creatures.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Next up, we have Collision of Realms. It costs 6 and a red for a sorcery. Each player shuffles all creatures they own into their library. Each player who shuffled a non-token creature into their library this way reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a creature card. Then puts that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. So, this is like gambling for something better on the field.
Yeah, I never really was a huge fan of those cards, but if you want to play a Chaos deck, there you go.
Yeah, this is Chaos written all over it for sure.
Next up, we got the Kami of Celebration, 4 and red for a 3/3 spirit. Whenever a modified creature you control attacks, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Okay, so this card, even if you forget about the top part, you could put in the Prosper deck from the D&D set and use the bottom part where you're casting stuff from exile and put 1/1 counters on stuff.
Right. So that's pretty nice. Next up, we have Komenu Battle Armor. It costs 2 and a red for a 2/2 artifact creature equipment dog that has menace. And then equipped creatures get +2/+2 and have menace. When Komenu Battle Armor or equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, goad each creature that player controls. What does that mean again?
You force them to attack.
Okay. And then a reconfigure of 4.
Yeah, it's force them to attack someone, not you, I think is what it is.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. It's not like provoke or one of those other ones.
Right. So it started out looking like it was going to be real good, and then it said goad, and I hate almost every card that has the word goad on it, so I'm just like, nope, next card.
Never mind.
All right, next card is Meosion of Roaring Blades. 5 red, so 8 mana for a 7/4. Enters the indestructible counter on it if you cast it from your hand. Remove the counter, deal 7 damage to each of up to 3 targets. That's 21 damage. That's good.
That's a lot of damage.
That's a good Meosion.
I mean, you can literally one-shot somebody in regular Magic format.
Well, I think it has to be 3 different targets. 7 damage to up to 3 targets.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to target 3 different things if you do 3 targets.
Oh, okay. So you can't just one-shot somebody.
Right, but you can still, kill 3 problematic things, deal 7. In Commander, you deal 7 to all your opponents.
Yeah. In Commander, you can deal a lot of damage. Yeah. Next up, we have Smoke Spirit's Aid. It is X red for a sorcery. For each of up to X target creatures, create a red aura enchantment token named Smoke Blessing attached to that creature. Those tokens have enchant creature, and when enchanted creature dies, it deals 1 damage to its controller, and you create a treasure token.
So you target a bunch of creatures, you put auras on them. When they die, the person who owned that creature dies, and you create a treasure token, or takes damage and you create a treasure token.
Yep. So you just you basically get all your land back that you paid to cast this pretty much eventually.
That's not bad.
No.
It's kind of slow, but it's not bad.
Slow, but okay.
Next up, we got Unquenchable Fury. 2 and a red for an enchantment aura. Enchant a creature. Enchanted creature has whenever this creature attacks, deals X damage to defending player, where X is the number of cards in their hand. When Unquenchable Fury is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return it to your hand.
Okay.
So this is like the red version of Rancor.
It really is.
I like this enchantment. This is a good enchantment.
Yeah, this if you have a big hand, this can be a very, very good.
Anti-blue decks.
Yeah, it really is.
So what do you think about the red cards? I mean, obviously the Meosion's good.
Meosion's good. Unquenchable Fury is pretty good too. The other ones are fine, I guess.
I mean, the take an extra attack phase is good if you build around that.
Yeah.
All right, on to green.
Green. All right. So first off, we have Ascendant Acolyte. It costs 4 and a green for a 1/1 human monk creature. Ascendant Acolyte enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each +1/+1 counter among other creatures you control. Oh, God. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of +1/+1 counters on Ascendant Acolyte. Holy God, this thing can be huge.
Yeah, so if you have, let's say you have two 2/2s out, right? Like you have 2 1/1s with the 1/1 counter on it. This comes in as a 3/3, and then it's going to double the counters every turn. But say you have a whole board of 1/1s that are 2/2s that all have a 1/1 counner on it. So you come in with a boatload of counters.
It comes into play with like 20 +1/+1 counters, and then it doubles. It's like, oh my! Like this, they have to
they have to deal with it, or it just gets out of hand.
They just die. They just die so fast.
The only downside it does it cost 5, and like you have to have a big board for this to even be good. But
right,
it's like a win more card. It's a win more card, but it's crazy.
A win more card. It really is. Like you're already winning when you play this. Let's be real, but it's fun.
Next up, we got Concord with the Kami. 3 and a green for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, choose one or more. Put a 1/1 counter onto a creature with a counter on it. Draw a card if you control an enchanted creature. Create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token if you control an equipped creature. Okay, so this does nothing if you just have a creature. But if you have any modified creature, you could do something.
Yep.
Interesting. I like the draw card for enchanted creature.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Otherwise, it's not good.
Yeah. And it costs 4, too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's good in this pre-con deck.
Yeah. Okay, so next up we have go-shintai of Life's Origin. It costs 3 and a green for a 3/4 legendary enchantment creature. That's a shrine. Oh boy. So tap all 5 colors, one of each of the 5 colors, and tap it. Return target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Whenever go-shintai of Life's Origin or another non-token shrine enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 colorless shrine enchantment creature token.
Yeah, so we have a Shrine Commander. Now, this is not in the deck. This you can only get in the set boosters.
Okay.
But we have a better Shrine Commander if people want to play the Shrine deck. And there is uncommon shrines in this set that are also creatures. So they're creature shrines in the set.
Interesting. Oh, yeah. I remember
There's
you
one of each
mentioning
color.
that.
So there's actually, 50? So there was 11. I think there's like 18 shrines now or something, or 20. So it's
you can easily
doable
make a
to do a
deck,
deck now, yeah. But even if you don't play shrines with it, it's still a really good 5-color enchantment
Yeah, it really
commander.
is.
So I really want this card just because I want to build the shrine deck.
Yeah, I know you've always wanted to make shrines work.
All right, next up we got Kosi, the Pentient Warlord. It's one green, so 3 mana for a legendary creature ogre samurai that is a 0/5. But as long as it is enchanted, equipped, and has a counter on it, it gains whenever it deals combat damage to your opponent, you draw that many cards, and then it deals that much damage to each other opponent.
Okay, so this is really good for Commander.
Yeah, this is really good for Voltron. If you can get it enchanted, equipped, and a +1 counter on it, so it needs 3 things for this to work. So say you have all that stuff, and the enchantment's 1/1, the equipment's 1/1. That's at minimum, it's like a 3/7 or 3/8.
Right.
Swinging for 3 damage to everybody, and you're drawing 3 cards.
It's not bad. I mean, it only does cost 3, so
yeah, I think this is, if you build it on this could be good.
It's doable for sure. If you have some good enchantments too, it could get powerful.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of hoops to jump through to get the effect on, but once you do, you're gonna pretty much just draw your deck and kill everybody.
You're pretty set. So next up, we have the green Meosion, which is Meosion of Towering Might. It costs 5 green for an 8/8 legendary spirit creature. Meosion of Towering Might enters the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it if you play it from your hand, and then you remove that indestructible counter from it. Distribute 8 +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. They gain trample until end of turn. That is pretty good.
It's pretty good, but I almost would rather just have the 8/8 indestructible.
Yeah, I mean, the 8 indestructible is also nice.
But yeah, that's good. Next up, we got one with the Kami, 3 and a green for an enchantment aura with flash that enchants a creature you control. Whenever an enchanted creature or another modified creature you control dies, create X 1/1 colorless spirit creature tokens where X is that creature's power. That's all right.
Not bad. Yeah, it's okay. It's like a less good E-Witness.
Yeah, it just makes tokens when your stuff dies.
Yeah. Let's see. Next up, we have Rampant Rejuvenator. It costs 3 and green for a 0/0 plant Hydra creature. Rampant Rejuvenator enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters on it. When Rampant Rejuvenator dies, search your library for up to X basic land cards where X is Rampant Rejuvenator's power. Put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So you would just basically pump the shit out of this and let it die.
Yeah, I mean, worst case is a 2/2, and it dies, you get 2 lands.
Yeah.
So I like that's a solid Hydra card.
Definitely solid. I mean, it's basically the cost of what is it? Explosive vegetation. I'm pretty sure that costs 4. It does the same thing.
Yep.
So yeah, that's not bad.
All right, next up we got Silk Guard, X and a green for put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X creatures you control. Auras, equipment, and modified creatures you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Well, that's good.
That is pretty good.
So it's like Thrive, where you put it at instant speed, put 1/1 counters on stuff, but then it also gives hexproof to anything you have buffed.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. So
especially since like if you pay, 1 or whatever or however much X, you give all your stuff 1/1 counters. They now all have hexproof because you just gave them all 1/1 counters.
Exactly.
So.
Next up we have Tanuki Transplanter. It costs 3 and a green for a 2/4 artifact creature equipment dog. Whenever Tanuki Transplanter or equipped creature attacks, add an amount of green equal to its power. And so forests. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end, and it has reconfigure 3.
So this, I think, is really good if it didn't cost so much to equip it.
Exactly.
Just because like you're paying basically 7 mana, and then you're swinging with a big thing, and you can get like a 7 greens. But like in like a say a dragon deck where you have 5 colors, just green mana isn't going to help you that much.
No, it's really not.
But in mono green, there's probably so much ramp anyways, you might not even need this.
Yeah, there's probably better options, honestly. Sadly,
it's cool though. Like I wish the reconfigure was like 1 mana, then I would definitely play it.
Yeah, the reconfigure makes it kind of unplayable, unfortunately.
I mean, but I guess 4 for a 2/4 that wanted to attack, give you 2 mana isn't that bad.
No, that's decent.
So, what do you think about the green cards?
I think the green cards are pretty good for the most part.
The Shrine card is awesome.
The Shrine card is really, really good. The Meosian is pretty damn good. And that Silk Guard's really good too.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up we got the multicolor cards. There's only a couple. First, I believe this is the commander of the deck for the vehicles deck. It's 1 blue and a white for a 2/4 legendary creature Moonfolk pilot. Vehicles you control have crew 2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature you control against lifelink and vigilance until end of turn.
So that's pretty good for vehicles, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lifelink and vigilant is also really nice too.
Right, and it makes all your vehicles only have crew 2, so that if they have a high crew, you only have to crew 2.
Exactly. That's pretty good. Next up we have Shorikai Genesis Engine. It costs 2 white blue for an 8/8 legendary artifact that's a vehicle. You can pay 1 and tap it to draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Create a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with this creature crews vehicles as though its power were 2 or greater. Were 2 greater, and it has crew 8. So if you can get this thing going, this can deal some damage.
Yeah, and then they did tack on the text that could be your commander.
Oh yeah, sorry. It can also.
I think that's. I don't know. There must be some weird rule where vehicles technically couldn't be before. I don't know because it's technically not a creature. I guess.
Yeah, because it's technically an artifact. Yeah, because it doesn't say creature in the type. That's why I think.
Yeah, but so this is a giant 8/8 that you can make tokens with that keep crewing. So you make a couple tokens and you can crew this up.
Right, and it only costs 4. Like that's a very low cost.
I think this would be what you'd want to play in the main deck though, because just being able to crew this for 2 for an 8/8.
Exactly.
Like, just, I have my commander out, and then for 4 mana, I have an 8/8.
Oops.
So next, I believe, is the commander of the modified deck. It's Shisuro the Shattered Blade. 2 red and a green for a 4/4 legendary creature, Snake Samurai. The artwork is awesome. A snake with that flaming sword.
It really is.
Whenever an aura or equipment enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 red spirit creature token with menace. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each modified creature you control.
That's pretty good. That's a good card.
Yeah, so you play aura equipments, you're getting 2/2s with menace, and then anything that is modified, you get 1/1 counters on. So basically, you just need to stack your deck with auras and equipments, and then it's providing the 1/1 counters.
Exactly. Those 1/1 counters are great, and the 2/2s of menace. That's just icing. That's pretty nice. And finally, we have Kaima, the Fractured Calm. It costs 2 red-green for a 3/3 legendary creature that's a spirit. At the beginning of your end step, goad each creature your opponents control that's enchanted by an aura you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on Kaima, the Fractured Calm, for each creature goaded this way.
Okay.
Sure.
Again, I don't like goaded. Ability. I don't know. So, what do you think of these 2 commanders? I mean, obviously, we don't really care about the Kamiya. Would you pick up any of these decks? The red-green one or the
red-green one seems really fun, honestly. Like the modified deck. I kind of like that.
Yeah, if I was going to pick one up, that would be the one I would lean towards. The blue-white one, I mean, vehicles, I've never played with a ton of vehicles, so it could be interesting.
Yeah, I technically have one in my Brago deck because it deals damage as a ETB, which is like the only reason I have it in there. But outside of that, yeah, I never actually played them the way they're supposed to be played. So it would be interesting to see how, that mechanic could work and everything. But I am definitely, I'm more of a green player anyways, so I feel like the Shasiro deck would be more my thing.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging around for this long podcast episode. We covered every rare and mythic from the new Kamigawa set. Me and James are playing in the pre-release this weekend. Hopefully we play pretty well.
Hopefully.
Yeah, thanks for listening, and please support us by sharing our podcast to other people, following us on YouTube. We have a TCG affiliate link. We also have a Patreon. You can support us that way. We have a Discord. You can come join that and hang out with us. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening. We appreciate all support. We'll see you next time.